So as I was saying, like the domain, when you're introducing the server to a domain, that's when the server now is in business. You just having the server right there, building after you build the server, it's just sitting there. It has no purpose until you install Active Directory on it, or you make it a domain controller, or you make it as a DHCP server. If you don't do any of those things, the server is just like a regular machine sitting there doing nothing. So those are the services that we're going to do today. We're going to be installing Active Directory, DHCP, and domain, DNS. Those are the things we're going to install on that server. After we're done installing the server, we'll have to introduce them to those roles and features. Because without those features, the server is just sitting there doing plain nothing. It's just like a regular server doing nothing. It has no functionality until you introduce it to a function. So those are the things that we're going to do today. And then I will not take that much of time today so Gerald can go through the assignment as well. Then I'll finish up next week, which is the last part we're going to do with RAID. RAID is one of the most important things you got to know about a server, because that is where you understand the redundancy and clustering of data going into a server. You have to know how that data is being managed. And RAID manages those functionality of data being processed into a server, and it also backs it up. It backs it up to a certain procedure. You're going to see the most important RAID, which is good for business, and you're going to see the RAID, which is okay for you to just use on your regular local network without no issues. But the one that is more recommended for business purposes and enterprises, we're going to see all that next class, next Saturday, because I want us to I don't want to give you guys too much information out there and it's going to be hard to process it. Because I know this information to you guys is a lot at the moment, but we're trying as much as possible to compromise everything in a small way that you guys can get into the business field. That's why we're sticking to the most important stuff that don't really is the most important stuff that really counts on what we need to do. Those are the ones that we really need. So without no further ado, I don't know let me see how many people we have here. Just give me a second. I think we have enough that we can start. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let's continue from yesterday. So, all right. Anyways, let me not share this one. I'll share my whole screen because sharing just that is gonna. Okay. So I don't know if everybody have this is where we ended yesterday. I don't know if you have your server at this part, or if you've gone past this part, let me know so I can just fast forward to mine to all the way there. If you're still at this stage, just let me know. You can do just raise your hand.
Yep, I'm still at that stage.
Okay.
Actually, I tried to go further, but it told me that the installation didn't work, and it asked me to repair my system.
What do you mean by repair your system? That means
Yeah,
you must have done something. Did you just can you just delete the server and redo it again?
that's what I did.
All right, so you delete it and redo it again.
I did it twice. It didn't work. After this stage control, when you click next, you just you have to accept the.
So if you click next right here, it's gonna ask you to install.
I think it's like it shows on yours repair your computer. When I click install, it doesn't act. It shows me an error message.
You see how it shows repair your computer?
Yes.
That's what you were saying?
Yes, it shows the same like yours.
So let's see. Let me see if I'm gonna have that same error as well.
Yeah, I got the same message. That's why I was asking Gerald yesterday.
So you see how it gave me the options here for which server to install. We're gonna go with the second one. Let me see. Yes, the second one. You're gonna select the second one, not the first one. The one that says the desktop experience.
All right, maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, you hit next. That's why I say, since it's the first time you guys are doing the installation, you always wanna read through. but I've done this a couple of times, like until it's like in the back of my mind. I could just go next, because I know already what to click and where to click. So since the first time you guys are doing, let's all do it at once. So when you select the second option, you click next. You have to accept the license. This is just telling you about the license and terms. Nobody will have the time to read all through this because these are all generic information that is given. All generic. You can just scroll down through it, but if you have the time, I will advise you go through it, but I know it's a lot of information to process. Nobody can read all through that. It's always important, but just understand that here is just telling you about the license and terms for this Office Windows that you install. I mean, there's Microsoft Windows that you're installing. When you accept the license down here, you click next. Let me know when you guys are there. Let me know when you guys are here. Because I know some people's machines are slow. And
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, just hold on, man.
Is there a second? Yeah, that's I was gonna ask if there's a second voice.
Mr. Kingsley, are we gonna click on install now?
No,
Or-
no. Hold on. Oh yeah, install now.
Okay.
Click on install now. It's gonna bring you to the next page, which is gonna ask you for the Windows option. Let me know when your name is Faith.
Okay.
Are you there?
It says setup is starting.
Yes.
Mine says setup is starting.
Yeah, just leave it, let it go.
Okay.
It's gonna give you a little box.
Yeah, give me an operating system, Windows 2016. Should I say next?
No. Go to the second option. Choose the second option that says desktop experience.
Okay,
You see it?
desktop.
Yes.
Yes.
Click next now.
Okay.
It's gonna bring you to the agreement and license terms. You see it?
Okay, yes. So
All right,
I click on I accept, right?
Yes, there's a checkbox on the bottom. Just check that box first.
Yeah.
Then you click next. It's gonna bring you
Then
to
I
this
say
part.
next.
Yes. It's gonna bring you to where we are.
Yeah, I'm here now. Thank you.
Mr. Jude, are you there too?
Yeah, no, sorry. I just want to, I'm late. So I want to know what we're installing.
So we're installing that same server. We're continuing from where we left off yesterday. So we're still installing the server right now. We haven't completed the server. We're still doing the installation for the server right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me know when you're at this part, or did you went ahead further yesterday with Mr. Jared?
No.
Okay. But do you know how to get to this part?
That's what I'm trying to do right now, because I didn't complete the process with Jared yesterday.
All right. But did you get your issue fixed?
Yeah.
All right. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna run your VMware. Run your VMware, which is this one. When you run the VMware, you're gonna see this server down there. Highlight the server and then click start. You're gonna click this button that says start, because when you highlight the server, this one is gonna become green. So you click start, it's gonna boot the server up to this. It's gonna boot it up to this screen here. And then it's gonna ask you to click install.
Okay. Let me try.
I'll just give everybody like a couple of minutes, because I know some people's machines are a little bit slower, so they can get to this part. But I know everybody's there. We're just waiting now on you, Mr. Jude, so you can catch up. Let me know when you're at that installation screen. I can go back all the way. Let me know when you're here. When you go to the installation screen, you're gonna click install. Are you there? All right, let's keep going. Then I'll come back to you, Mr. Jude. Let me know. I'll come back to you so you can share your screen so we can see where you are. Then we can take you on from there. Let me just keep going forward. So the next step, we're gonna click custom install, not upgrade. I usually do the custom install just because I want to go in there, see the drives that I have, because if you're doing if you're reprovisioning a machine that had an operating system before on it, you're gonna see here that you have partitions already. Drives are partitioned automatically, so you have to delete all those partitions and make a new one, because by you deleting that partition, you're formatting the machine from the previous operating system, the Windows server that was on it, to reprovision it to a new one. That's the reason why we always choose custom. And here, and also the reason why I choose custom was because I want to partition this disk. This has not been partitioned yet. So when we click custom, this one is highlighted. You see here it says disk unallocated space. We're going to click new. All right, it's going to give you a default sizes here. All you're just going to do is after you click new, you click apply. It's going to give you a message. That's okay. It's just letting you know what next is going to be done. You click OK. Automatically now the disk has been partitioned, and then you're going to use the primary one. You're going to highlight sometimes automatically by default. Usually,
can you come again? Sorry, please.
All right. So
thank you.
If I go back, we go to custom, right?
Yeah.
Let me delete this partition so I can recreate it back.
Okay.
All right. So when you go to click on custom, this is how yours is going to look like. Are you here?
Yes.
Now you're gonna click new.
New.
Click on new. It's gonna give you a default size here. Don't change anything.
Yes.
Do not change anything. Just hit apply.
Apply. Okay.
It's gonna come to this window.
Yes.
You hit OK.
Okay.
Now a space has created. It has partitioned the disk.
Yeah.
It's gonna partition the disk into this.
Yeah.
So now,
Senior Kingsley.
Yes, Mr. Jonathan.
I think I might have jumped ahead yesterday. When I got to this part, I didn't partition the disk. I just went straight and click OK for everything to install.
That would be a problem. It's going to be a problem in the long run, because the reason why we're partitioning this is because why? This space is a reserve. That's why I see system reserve. That reserve now is for system operation system files and recovery. Like if this machine crash, like the always says, when it says repair your computer, the place where that repair is getting files and recovery files from is from this reserve system drive. So if your system does not have a reserve drive, if your system crashed at some point, that system is done. You have to either you change the hard drive or you have to reprovision it again completely. You won't be able to repair, even though it's going to give you the option to repair, but you will not be able to repair because why? It didn't have a reserve system drive to keep the repairs files into it. So that is the reason.
Yes. How do we go ahead and delete the ones we did? Because just like Mr. Johnson said, yesterday when we were installing it with Jared, we didn't go through this part that you're going through. So how do we go ahead and
delete, all you can do is just delete the whole machine. Like you can go to the machine like this. You can right click on the machine, remove. You can remove that machine and rebuild a new one back from the beginning that we did all yesterday. That's the best way I always advise people to do. Don't try to repair the machine because it's going to take you forever. The best way you can do is just rebuild a new one. So just right click on the one that you had, do remove. It's completely going to remove the machine and all the settings. Then you just go back again to new. I can go to new. You set a new name, next, partition
do we click when it said delete all files or remove only, which one do we click?
Where?
Because when you right click and when right click remove,
do remove.
And it gives you delete all files or remove only, which one?
Do delete all files. So you delete everything.
And when you do that, you'll not be able to use the name you used previously.
Yes.
So like, for example, Kingsley server right now is WinServe 2016.1. If he tries to use the WinServe 2016.1 again, it's not going to work. So he's going to do something like WinServe 2016.2 or 0.3. So our expectation is not that you're just going to learn how to build one server and be like, okay, I've built one server, this is it. You have to be practicing this process. So I expect you to have like 5 or 10 Windows servers in your VirtualBox, because you need to be familiar with the process, right? So don't build one and end there. Try to do it again. Try to do it again. Try to do it without even watching a video or following instructions. Try to do it by yourself until you get to the point where you're comfortable doing it yourself without even watching any video. So it's fine if you make any mistake. It's all right. That's
you can always reach out too, right? That's how you learn.
Don't just build one machine and say, okay, I have my server. That is it. Because if that server stops working tomorrow, you're gonna be like, okay, I have to go build a new one. How do I do this? And then you're gonna start watching videos again. You know, you don't want to do that. So build one server, try to build another, try to build like 4 or 5. We're gonna be doing the same for Linux. You're gonna have like maybe 10 Linux machines, maybe more.
You're right. Thank you, Mr. Jared. All right. We're here at this point. So now we've created the partition. Automatically, this one is being highlighted, which is the primary one. That's where we're going to be installing the operating system. Once you have it highlighted like this, if not, if it's highlighted on that one, you can always come down and highlight the primary one. And you hit next. Now the installation process is going to keep going. So now it's just installing. All we just have to do now is wait. If you didn't do something at the beginning, well, at this point right here, because it's doing the check-ins all the way until it's going to come to installation. Right now, it's doing the prerequisites. It's making sure all the steps that we went through, we did the right thing. If at some point you made a mistake here, it's going to fail. It's going to fail with an error message telling you that, oh, maybe the operating system was not installed, or maybe there's no disks in the DVD drive, or maybe there's something else missing. It's going to give you that information here. But after this process, if it doesn't give you the information, it's just going to go the next few, steps all the way down to finishing up. So why this is running, those people that were having issues with the machine yesterday.
Quick question, Kinsley.
Yes.
Are you installing this on the 500 megabyte partition or on the 59 gigabyte partition?
No, 60 gig hard drive.
Okay, so you're not using the new one that we created, you're using the full...
No, I'm using the 59 one that we created.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Because when you create that partition, all you do, I can always, the 59 is a 60 gig that we did from the beginning when we partitioned the hard drive. Remember when I put mine to 60 gig, right? So that partition is still the 50 gig, but it's 60 gig, it's gonna show you 59 because why? That 1 gig, that is what now is the reserve, system reserve. It's automatically, when we create that partition, it automatically take 1 gig and keep it for the system reserve. Then the 59 now, that's what is in use now for your system. You can still repartition that 59 gig into 2 different partitions. Now you're gonna have 2 hard drive in your system, but we don't want to do that because this is just a 1 machine. We have no point, no reason partitioning it into a multiple partition. That was, I would say that was like they used to do back in the days. You partition your hard drive and use one of it as your backup or your server for saving data and all that stuff. But this is a server, so we don't need to partition it again.
So, but I thought that since we partitioned, we should be saving installing the system file inside the reserve. Because if we install this on the 60 gig, then what's the reserve for? There is nothing in the reserve.
That is why I explained at the beginning before we move forward. That reserve space is just a 1 gig space. That 1 gig is reserved for repair files, for Windows repair files.
So it will automatically put those things there by itself. We don't put it there. Okay, that was
so we don't have nothing to do with that reserve. That reserve is just automatically for system files. That's why Mr. Jonathan was saying that when he just did next on his, I told him like you have to go redo it because why? If you don't have that reserve space, if your machine break up at some point, you definitely need to repair that machine. But now that you don't have a reserve space with those reserve files in it, the machine cannot repair because it does not have where to pull those reserve files from. You understand now, Mr. Ola?
Yep. Thank you, Kinsley.
All right. So at this point, my machine has restarted because after all the installation, you guys saw it when it restarted. Yes, Mr. Jonathan.
Sorry. So I'm doing it again, and it looks like I'm stuck. No, I'm stuck. It doesn't look like I'm stuck. So when you get to the storage, and you go to the optical drive, and click on the little CD, and there's a drop down, and you download the ISO image.
Yes.
What do you do next from there, please?
The drop down. What do you see the drop down?
So the drop down, I see choose a file. And the ISO image that I already downloaded, it's also showing up.
So click on that ISO image. because you used it the first time already. So click on the ISO image automatically. You don't have to go choose the ISO image again from somewhere.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do it. You click on the ISO image, right?
Yes.
If you look now on that side where it used to say empty, do you see the ISO image there?
Yes, I see it.
All right. So now you have to go now to network. Did you do network part already?
Yes, I did.
You changed to bridge adapter, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. So now you're gonna go do OK.
But the OK
is all the way down.
It doesn't highlight.
Because that means you haven't done something yet. Let me see. Jared, can you give me some Jonathan permission so he can share his screen? Let me see.
No, okay, I might have to sign in on Zoom again because I'm using 2 different computers.
Oh, okay.
So let me sign Zoom and
all right, sign in on that computer that you're working on so we can see the computer itself.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No worries. But meanwhile, we'll go ahead. I mean, if you have it, we can come back to people that are having that issue. If anybody have issue somewhere, I'll just continue going. All right.
So in the meantime, Curtis and Roland, I don't know if you've downloaded your ISO images. Go ahead and download it so that after class, I can go through this process with you real quick.
Okay, no problem.
All right, so now that my system has rebooted.
Kingsley, your computer is fast. So some people's computer are not that fast.
No, I'm not going ahead. That's why I'm waiting for you guys. Let me know when you guys are here. That's why I'm not rushing it. We have all day here. Not almost all day though, but let me know when you guys are here at this stage. My computer is fast because why? I prepare my computer for this. That's why when the beginning the course started, Gerard told you guys the specification of your machine to get.
I mean, mine is, like I've said since yesterday, I just want to run through all this with the class, then format my computer and then do it again.
That's
all
okay.
Through from the beginning. So that's why I don't want to format it yet. But even at that, your computer is still too fast. Unless I'm the only one that's slow. Maybe my computer is the slowest. I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll wait.
What happened to the new machine you were supposed to buy?
I have that. So that's what I'm using. But I'm using the old machine to do the class stuff, and then I'm using my new machine for. So when I'm done with this, I'll format this old machine. I'll still use my new machine. I'm going to use all of them. So I'll do it like 4 different times. By then I'll be very good at it.
That's great.
That's good practice. Mine, I have like 2 over here. I've break and fix like 7 times by myself. I've had issues that I even couldn't figure it out. Google is my best friend. I just went to Google, search it, and I got the answer from there from people that have had the same issues before in the past. So, Mr. Ola, you're the only one that's back now on this stage, right? Miss Faith, are you at this stage or no?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. What about you, Jarvis?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And Emeka?
No, unfortunately, I'm not there yet. I'm still installing it.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm the only one, then everybody can go ahead, I guess.
No, we'll wait for you. We'll give you more 2 minutes. At least
I'm still getting the message, repair your computer.
You're getting the message from where? Repair your computer?
Okay, Emeka, what system are you using? Windows or Mac?
I'm using Windows. So as you look here,
all right,
at the bottom, it says repair your system at the bottom.
No, don't worry about that. Repair your system. It's just information. It's just giving. Those are options.
Okay.
So click on where it says install. You see where it says install? Click on that install and go ahead. Those are just options. That's another way to repair your computer. You can use the Windows operating system to repair your computer. Because why?
Okay.
They're giving you those options in the case that, let's say the machine breaks up and you didn't have the operating system. You can plug in a USB stick that has an operating system on it. It's going to bring you to that page where it says install. Instead of you doing install, you're going to hit repair this time. Because you're repairing your system, you're not installing it anymore. So those are just options. It's not an error message. It's just an option.
And then so you say you want to use standard evaluation desktop experience, right?
Yes, the second one. So highlight the second one, then you click next. So here you're just gonna create a password for your machine. Here we're just creating a password for this machine. It's like use a login password. So you guys can go ahead and create a password for yourself. I'm gonna create mine.
Okay, I'm getting a compatible
just
report.
A side comment. When it comes to creating passwords, guys, I want us to start learning how to create
a unique
good passwords, like passwords that you can use in an IT environment. Because this is what you'll be doing at work, creating passwords for users and things like that.
Right.
You want to create complicated passwords. You don't want a password that is easy to guess. You don't want a password that somebody can steal. You don't want to use a name, and you don't want to use something that someone can easily remember. I mean, read and remember. So if you've done any kind of research on cybersecurity, people, they do something right now based on encryption. They go with passphrases instead of normal passwords, right? So a passphrase is difficult for a hacker to crack. For example, I can say, the sun is rising. That is a passphrase. Instead of doing a short password like sun 115.
Yes, or
sun
you can
115 will be easy to crack. But if you do a passphrase like the sun is rising, or
we are one, or
things like that.
Yes,
right. So please go with passphrases. It's easier to remember passphrases than trying to say fate237_1, and then tomorrow you don't remember that.
And also always know that when you're doing your password, you want to get like a little diary or somewhere like a save that you can save this password in, so you can remember in the future.
We downloaded password save in class, so that's where your password should go. Remember the application password save? Did everyone download that application? It's among the list of the applications that we had to install. Did everyone download it?
I did.
Yes.
So you can open that password save.
So I'll in another, if we have time today, I'll show you how to use the application. So at work you have like password saves where passwords are created and stored. So people don't write passwords
on piece of
all
paper
over the place. Or you have a diary. If you come to work with a diary and your boss mistakenly lays hands on it and see passwords there, you lose your job that day. So passwords will go into the password safe.
So, but for now, when you guys put in this password, you want to write it down on a piece of paper. So
write it down somewhere so you don't forget.
After class, when Mr. Gerard now will be showing you guys how to use the password safe, that's when you can store your password in there. And also when you're putting password, know that when it comes to like servers and computers, when you're assigning a password, the minimum amount of characters that you're supposed to have on a password is 8. That means 8 characters that includes exclamation mark, question sign, and numbers with letters. So the minimum should be 8 characters. If you look at mine here, it should be more than 8 characters. That's a good password. You should always put. Don't go put 4 characters, because when it comes to servers, it will not accept it. Because automatically the policy has been set that when it comes to servers and when even in companies, they set group policies that says your password should be more than 8 characters. That means for people not to be able to guess them. And as Gerard says earlier, for password phrases, because when you start putting password phrases, if they put a group policy that your password should not be more than 8 characters, and you want to put a password phrase, it will not take it, because it says the password should not be more than 8 characters. But if they put a group policy that says the password should be more than 8 characters, that means they're implying that use password phrases, including numbers and exclamation mark or question marks and special characters. Sorry, let me put it that way. Understood?
How about the username? Can we use the same username that we have on our...
Don't worry about the username. We're going to change that when we get into the machine. You can always change that username because that's automatically set up as that's by default. If you look at it, it's grayed out. You cannot change it at this point.
Okay.
Yes, so that's...
You know what? Unfortunately, my system thinks it's in Nigeria. It's moving very slow.
Let me see what point you're at right now. Can you show me?
Can you give us some examples of some passwords?
It's at 11%, man, right now.
That's okay.
My system.
We'll get to you, Mr. Emeka. So, Ms. Faye, you were asking for me to give you an example of a password?
Yeah.
I cannot give you an example of password. You can use maybe a passphrase.
I'm not going to use it, but just give me an example, and that will help.
Yeah, we gave you an example. The sun is rising.
Okay.
The sun is. You can do the sun is rising 12:15, or maybe you can do the sun is rising 2021 exclamation mark or question mark. You can do my name is, who I am.
Okay.
We are together. Long phrases like that somebody can never guess. But always know that.
What I usually do is I use my language to write it in English. So I'm the only one that understands it. And I can always remember it, and it's in my language, so you can't even guess it.
Yeah. So those are examples of good. It will make a hacker. I mean, the hacker will be hard for a hacker to even figure out what you're even trying to do.
Okay.
Because my job, and this is something that you guys are going to understand. Like when we get into the server, you guys we're gonna create an Active Directory. The use of Active Directory is for and you are going to be the one managing Active Directory. At some companies, you have that's somebody's full-time job, just working on Active Directory 24/7 every day. And what you do in there is create users' account and set passwords for them. That's where users' accounts are being created and passwords are being assigned and group policies are being created. Machines are also being created for a company in that same group Active Directory. That's why Active Directory is one of the most important things for a company to have. Because that's where all your machines are being created. You assign names to the machine, put them on a domain, put them on a specific group policy, put them on a specific group in the company. That's how you assign machines. All of this is being done in Active Directory. You set group policies also in Active Directory. So when they say, okay, your boss can send you a list of users that you need to create their account because they're new hires, people that have been hired for the company. You're gonna set the username and password. The way you set the username is we're gonna see it as we go further. To create a user, all you're just gonna do with a company usually do first name dot last name. Then automatically, remote control. No, you cannot control my screen, Mr. Jonathan. No, now give me a second. So let's go further. Now that we've put the password, we're gonna click finish. Your machine is gonna boot up now to the lock screen. And guys, please, as I'm speaking, because today we're doing mostly practice. So if you have the pleasure, you can always take down notes. Because I don't have notes for this process, but I'll find a way to make a note and paste it in the Google Drive for you guys afterwards. But if you have the pleasure, you can always take down a little jot notes for your own.
Yeah, Senior Kingsley.
Yes,
so I signed up with the laptop that I have the server.
Mr. Gerald, can you please give Mr. Jonathan permission so we can see? Oh, I'm the one, even the host. So let me give Mr. Jonathan a co-host. I'm gonna make you co-host, Mr. Jonathan.
Okay, thank you.
All right, go ahead and share. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second so you can share your screen. Share your screen so we can. Let me see what point you're at. All right. So you've created a machine, right? Which one do you create? The 16A. That's a good name. I like that 16A name. All right. So click on settings. Go to settings. Let me see something. Make sure everything is set up. Click on settings. All right. Go to network. Change that NAT. You see, you haven't changed the NAT. Change NAT to bridge adapter. Okay. Go to storage. All right. You see, you haven't set your disks yet. Click on empty.
Okay.
Click on that empty. Go now all the way to that's city. Click there. Click on the ISO image on the bottom. Yeah, no. Just which one did you use last time?
Yeah, the first one, the one I'm clicking on.
Don't use any of those ones. Click on choose a disk file. So let's go get it from the source. All right, the one that we're supposed to use is not that. You change the name to that?
Yeah, this is what I downloaded, and this is the 2012.
All right.
I just downloaded this.
For some reason, he downloaded the 2016 data center.
No, you downloaded data center instead.
Yeah, that is an ISO that is used in data centers.
Those are data centers ISO. So you have to get Can you go on the Google Drive and just get and pull the ISO image from there?
Yes.
Go to Google Drive on your. Let's pull the image from there quick. Close that first. Just close that.
This one.
Yes.
Close this one also. Close the entire thing.
Close that. Minimize, yes, minimize that. And then let's go put our ISO image real quick.
No.
Minimize that.
Which one?
Yes, where your cursor is. Where your mouse is pointing, minimize your virtual box.
Wait. Okay, I think you can see I'm on my desktop right now.
No, you have to download the ISO on this machine that we're looking at right now, the one that you're sharing the screen.
Okay, so I'm going to the Google Drive too. I don't know why it's frozen, but I'm on my
stop sharing and share again. Okay. Stop your sharing and share again back. All right. Go now to your Gmail account or yes. You guys have access to the Google Drive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, go to the Google Drive. Let's see. I did put in the ISO image in there.
Share with me. So
let me see. Hold on.
No, I think he needs to go to
the website
class software, something. That's where class applications.
Go to class application. Click on class application. That's it right there. Yeah. Click on that there. Open that. All right. No, it's not in there.
No, I think this was in the homework where you said we should download it from Microsoft.
All right, then go to Microsoft.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going there to download.
All right, it's probably gonna take you like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah. So please go ahead. Once I get the image.
All right, stop sharing then. Stop sharing. Let me share back.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's move forward because we have a lot to cover today. All right, so you guys let me know if your machine are at this spot. If your machine is at this desktop, the people that are with me.
I'm there.
Yes.
So now we have to sign into that machine for the machine to come in. So the way you sign in here on a virtual machine is you cannot just do Control-Alt-Delete on your own keyboard. You have to use your mouse. Go to where it says input. You see it up here?
Okay, so at least do something.
You click input, go to keyboard. You see where it says keyboard, right?
Yeah.
You go down to where it says insert Control-Alt-Delete. And you click on that. It's going to give you the administration console. That's when now you type in your password that you created. That's when you're going to type in that password that we created from the beginning. So my machine now is logging in. And when it logs in, it's going to bring me automatically to system manager. I'm just trying to make it bigger. So
can you come again, Mr. Kingsley?
What part, Ms. Faith?
The inputs, from the inputs.
Right here. You see where it says right there? You click on input, go to keyboard. Click on this first one.
Yes. Okay.
When you click on it,
brought me to
to sign in.
Brought me to the administrator place.
Yes, put in that password that you created. Remember when we were creating a password and you were asking me if we could change the username?
Yeah.
So type in that password that you set there. Type in the password, it's gonna log your machine to this.
All right.
And then you're gonna get that pop-up of the network settings. Just click yes on that. When you see that network, yes, click yes on it. And then now when you click next, when you're on your desktop, you're just gonna give it a couple of seconds. This is gonna start loading. Server manager is gonna load, which is where we wanna do all the fun stuff in there. Just give me a second. I gotta make my screen scale mode. Just Windows size. Okay. So now you see my machine has loaded to the server manager. This is just a pop-up. I mean, another service open, so I can minimize it. It's right here. This is my computer screen right here. But this is the server manager here. If you cannot find the server manager here, you can always go click on the window here. If it just does not come up, you can click on this window here and you go up, you're going to see server manager. You can see open it from there.
My server manager came up.
Yes, automatically when you install a server, it automatically comes up on its own. But some cases, if that does not comes up, that's why I'm showing you the other alternate route.
Okay.
You can always go here, and you're gonna see the server manager right there. Or you can see right here as well. You can click on it. It's gonna load the server manager. So when your server manager comes up like this is what you're gonna see. Don't worry about the red error message that you're gonna see. We're gonna fix all that as we go further. So this is what you're gonna see in your server manager. Like on this side right now, this is all we see here on this side. As we install more rows and features, you're gonna see more drop downs are gonna add here all the way down. We're gonna have more and more options and features over there. If you go to manager, sorry, you see we have less features here. In here we have less feature. When we install Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS, you're gonna have more features all the way down here. So it's gonna come with its own features that and rows that it works with. So right now we just have our local machine. And before we can introduce our machine or configure our machine to Active Directory and DNS and DHCP, we first of all have to change this server name and set a static IP for this server. We have to set a static IP and a new username for this machine. And by you doing so, because once we do that, it's going to restart this machine. So right now, the first thing we're going to do, first of all, is rename this server. We're going to give it a server name, and also we're going to change the IP address for your server.
Guys, remember when we spoke about host names? Who still remembers? Who still remembers what a host name is? So remember when I said every machine in a network should have a host name?
Right.
Yeah, so your server is supposed to have a host name. Remember, one of the functionality of DNS is to change host names to IP addresses and IP addresses to host names. So we need a host name so that we can be able to configure something like DNS. And you can also connect to a machine using its host name.
Right.
Not only its IP, right? So if I want to do a remote connection to a machine and I know the host name of a machine, I can just use the host name of the machine and connect to the machine. I don't necessarily need to use the IP of the machine. So every machine in a network needs to have a host name and an IP address. And we said, Trina Kingsley just said, we have to set a static IP for this server.
Yes.
Who can tell me why the server needs a static IP? Anyone?
Yeah, I think you always have to be able to reach out to your server. So if you set it to dynamic, then it can cause you some trouble when the IP changes.
And another reason too, just to add to what Mr. Jarvis said, which is really good. Another reason too, the reason why we're setting a static IP to a server is that if that server reboots at some point, the IP shouldn't change in the sense that if people are trying to access that server, it should have one configured IP address and one host name. But if you have a dynamic IP on it and somebody was on that server yesterday, and then during after working hours when the server restart or when they were doing updates and stuff, if that server restarts and come back on, and then the next day an employee in the company tries to access that server, they will not be able to access that server again. Because why? It's gotten now a new IP address since it was not set a static IP address. That's the reason why we're setting up a static IP address for a server. Those are some of the reasons, because for people to be able to access that server anytime and any point, even if the server restarts or reboots. Understood?
Mr. Jared. Mr. Jared.
He's listening.
Yeah, please, sorry, not concerning this. Maybe I'll discuss it later with you, but my laptop, running it with this app, and I started fan noise again. And I did the hardware diagnostics tests. I checked all my updates, everything has been updated. So, and it's still making the noise. So I don't know
You're having a noise from your laptop?
It might be a motherboard
like a fan
issue.
noise.
I hope it's not a motherboard issue.
You said a fan noise?
Yes.
It might be that you have stuff underneath the laptop, so you're blocking air from coming in the laptop as well.
Did you check all the screws? Everything is well screwed, and no, like if you shake up the laptop, you hear no noise, like a loose connection within?
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah, it might be that, and you run the hardware diagnostics, and it
all passed. And it passed. Everything passed. Yeah.
Okay. It might be just, how old is the laptop?
2 years.
Shouldn't face that kind of issue with a 2-year laptop. And it's been well handled. You never dropped it or anything?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll take a look at it after class if you have time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So, guys, there's one important thing. Like, you remember when I started my machine and I got that network notification here? You remember when I had that network notification? You guys got the same thing with yours too, right? The reason why you had that network notification here was because of this. You remember when we went into settings on that machine and went to network this bridge adapter. So that notification is telling you that he has gotten network connection from your local machine. It's telling you that. Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
You're echoing. Use one, mute one machine and use the other one.
Yeah, so I'm trying to download the 2016R, but I don't see any option that says the 2016R. The one that I have is Essential and some other one.
The ISO will not tell you 2016R. If you look at the ISO image, like if you look at mine here, this is how the ISO image is going to appear. That should be the name.
This is the one. This is one of the options. Thank you.
Jonathan, you remember the process that we did yesterday when I was trying to help Mr. Jude?
I'm sorry, it was muted.
I said, do you remember the process we went through yesterday after class when I was trying to help Mr. Jude download the 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, just follow the same process.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just go to the Microsoft website, Evaluation Center, Server 2016, and then pay attention to all those things, the language, and then fill out the little form they're asking you to fill out. And you're going to start the download.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's continue, guys. I was talking about the network. Okay. So right now we're going to go now into the fun stuff on this server, because this server right now is just sitting here. It's just a machine. It has no function, has nothing. So it's not an Active Directory server.
Is everyone here so far? How many people are here? How many people have their servers?
Yeah.
I'm there.
As for me, I'm not.
I'm not.
So you know you got to come back to me, right?
Yeah.
I'm very far from
Kev J, come back to you again.
I'm not even following the process.
All right. How many people are here yet? I know Jarvis is here. Miss Fit, are you here as well?
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm trying to set my laptop. Yes.
All right, Mr.
Okay,
Curtis.
we need to know how many people are here so we know if we are.
I want to know how many people
moving ahead or not.
Yeah.
Cesar, are you there? Can you give us an update where you are?
I'm still sorry. I had some issue this morning, so I didn't.
Oh, you came in late?
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
All right. And then Mr.
What about Emeka, Ola? I mean, why do guys please switch on your camera so we can keep track of what you're doing and we can all be on the same lane. You know, if you're switching your camera off, we don't know what is going on there. I mean, let's be respectful of the others who have their cameras on, please.
Maybe you might be on fire. We don't know even. Just kidding.
I was taking my breakfast, so I apologize. I don't want to be eating on the screen.
That's okay.
Don't worry. That's fine. So, Emeka, what's your update?
Jarvis. Because I tried to elevate the laptop from just the bare surface.
It reduced, right?
It has reduced significantly. It's just a little bit, yeah.
So the reason why that fan always have a high noise is because you're covering the ventilation part of that system. So it's trying to get air into the system. So sometimes you might be putting it on top of a book or something. So when it cannot get too much air in the system, the fan will start spinning faster.
Yeah.
But if you give it like a little lift up or put something on the sides, don't cover like where you see those holes underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're asking who are the people that are at this stage right now? I know Jarvis is there. Miss Faith, are you at this stage as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Curtis, did you download your ISO?
Yes, I did. Oh, not me. Okay.
No, I'm talking to Curtis.
Okay.
I'll need to go start from the very beginning I haven't.
Okay. So during break, I can walk you and Roland.
Okay.
And anyone else who didn't download the ISO.
You know what? Let me just drop the ISO.
10 minutes.
Let me drop the ISO in here. Why is downloading in there so they can just get it from there instead of going.
Okay, I think that will be better.
Okay.
Let me go to which one was it? Class applications, right? Why don't I see it? Share with me. All right, yeah, class application folders. I'm gonna copy my ISOs and drop it in here so you guys can have it. Let me do the Windows 2016 one first. I'm gonna do this and this. So right click, copy. What is it? Come over here, you right click. No, I need to upload. What is it? Let me just minimize this for a second. So this and this. Drag. I think I need to upload it.
Try clicking on new.
Mr. Bismarck, you've been very quiet. You've been very quiet today. What's going on? Bismarck, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I haven't heard your voice all morning. What's going on?
Sorry.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay.
So Bismarck, do you have your server up?
I have already fought out like 3 weeks or a month because I installed the evaluation, not the standard. So when I display the server, it comes on, but it's a command line. I don't see the.
Yeah, because you installed the one without a GUI.
Yeah, so
good.
Yeah, what you install is what they use at data centers.
Right.
So isn't it, if you don't understand PowerShell
or command line,
you'll be unable to do anything. Yeah, so go download the normal I don't know the ISO that you got, but
no, it's not possible any longer because it's a one-time download from Microsoft account unless I have to buy.
No, it's not a one-time download. So Kingsley just uploaded the ISO on the drive. Go pull the ISO from the drive and use it.
All right.
Yeah. So those are the ISOs loading in the drive. So whenever it loads, go pull it down and use it, please.
Oh, so how many people are at this stage? It's just 2 people, right? I see just Miss Fadas here, Jarvis is here. Who else is at this stage right now? Apart from the from Jarvis and Miss Fade.
I'm using my fast laptop now. I had to start from the beginning, and that one is almost there. But
all right,
my slow laptop is on 60%, so whichever one gets there first.
Okay, but no worries. I mean, I'll go ahead, and I also put in the links here. If you look in the general, these links, you can always copy these links and put them on a YouTube. Open them on YouTube. Or you can just open it on a Chrome. It's gonna bring you to YouTube. You can always watch this same video, the same process that I'm doing right here. These are them right here, and it's gonna even give you more details and more explanation to some things that I was not able to say right now, but you guys will catch those other parts of it in these videos. It's not really a long video. It's just an installation process as well, but it's good as well to watch, because I for once I used to watch them a lot of times, so I get familiar with myself. But we'll go further right now. I mean, then during the break time, we can resolve anybody that's having issue with the installation, and we can bring them up to speed or to where we ended before break. But I'm gonna go ahead right now. Now that we're in Server Manager, the first thing first we're gonna do is change the server name. And to do that, we have to click on the where it says local server. You see here? Click on local server. It's gonna load you to this page. This page right here. If you look right now, my server name, it says computer name right here. If you look at the name, it's just giving me some bunch of weird name. And if you look at the work group, it's right here too. When we are done introducing this server to a domain, the domain name that you're going to create is going to change from this work group to the domain name that we create. That's what we're doing by making this server now a domain server. Since it's going to be a domain Active Directory and a DHCP server, that's what it's going to become. But for right now, we're first of all going to change the computer name. And to do that, you're just going to click on the computer name right here. Click on it. It's going to open up here. You do change. And you can rename the name to whatever name you want to put in. Me, I'm just going to do a win. I'm going to stick with my one name, WinServe 2016.1. Right there. I still keep my same name going forward. I don't want to make it too complicated for me, because right now, if I'm trying to log into that machine, I can just go by the name that I created for my virtual box right here. I can just go by this name that I know that that's the server name as well. Like my 2016 server here, if you go into the server name, you're going to see the server name is going to be this, WinServer 2016. If you go into this 2012 one, the server name as well is going to be the WinServe 12. So I stick with one dynamic and a naming convention, so I don't get lost at some point and I'm like all over the place.
Quick question, Kingsley. How did you get to editing the name? I'm at the local server, and I can see the computer name with the weird numbers and the work group.
So click on it. Click on it.
On the computer name, correct?
Yes, click on the computer name. That's why it's in blue. When you click on it, it's going to open this. You see it? Click on change.
All right.
When you click on change, it's going to bring you again now forward to where you see that weird name, right? That's highlighted. That's where you change the name. I changed mine to this. Let me just copy this because so if I cancel, let me do all over again. If I cancel everything, you see I still have the weird name right here. So I click on the weird name. I click on change. It comes up with a weird name, and I'm just going to paste my computer name because I already put it before. Now it changed. So If there was another domain server somewhere, and we wanted to add this server to a domain, we would just do that from here. We'll click on domain and then put in the domain name right here from that domain server. We're going to put in that domain server name here and then introduce this server to another domain server. But we're not going to do that right now because we're going to make this server a domain server. So we're just going to, yes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, some of us are not computer savvy. So let me just ask this question. You keep using the word domain. It's my first time hearing that word. So can you explain to us what you mean by domain? What is a domain?
A domain is like they call it you can put it a domain or you can call it a forest as well. You know how a forest is. When they say a forest, do you know how a forest looks like? That has a bunch of trees in it. Everywhere you understand that, right? A forest a forest is made up of trees.
Yes.
All right, that's a forest. So take it the same way as a forest that's made up of trees to consider your working environment as a forest. So when you give it a domain, what we call a domain server is a collection of all computers within the same network and make them so they can talk to each other. You can share information with each other so long as you're on the same domain. So a domain controller is the person that helps each computers within the same network to talk to each other and share data information within each other. Does that make you guys understood? So it's just like you have a forest that has trees in them. Those trees, they have roots, and those roots are connected to other trees. Let me explain it in a layman same way that way. So those trees are connected like in a forest. The roots are connected to each other. Like this tree can probably get water from the other tree by connecting with their roots. So it's the same way in a working environment, in a business or enterprise environment. You need a domain controller that helps you to communicate with other computers on the same network in that same enterprise connection. And not just in that enterprise connection. You can have a part of your company can be in New York, one can be in Texas, one can be in South Carolina. But a computer from here can talk to that computer in South Carolina using a domain controller.
Okay, Kingsley. So looking at your screen right now, I see I see domain, and then I see a work group. So that tells me any computer that is not
on a domain,
part of the domain,
yes,
belongs to a work group.
Yes.
Right? So what is the difference between a domain and a work group?
So a domain is given to an enterprise, as I just explained. As a whole, it's a means that they create for computers to talk to each other. And a work group is just a simply local name for a local computer. That is not on a domain. Your computer always be on a work group by default, because why? That computer has not been introduced to a domain yet. So a work group automatically is just a local computer name that you will have.
I have a question.
So at work, you could have computers that are part of the domain, and you could also have computers that don't belong to the domain that are in the work group. So for you to join the domain, you have to leave the work group to join the domain. And for you to leave the domain, you just got to go back to the work group.
Right.
Guys, do you understand that?
I have a question.
Yes.
So a work group, is it the same thing as a system name? You know how sometimes you will have a department, and within that department there's a system. So each system has a name. So is that the same thing?
No, work group is just like, okay, let's say for instance, right? If I was an Active Directory in a business, in a company, and when we're going to get to Active Directory, I'm going to explain this more, because why? You're going to see a work group in there. A work group is just a name given to, like, it's like you doing a domain as well. Because let's say, okay, my company has a domain name, which is called talbots.com. That's a domain name. Gerard's company might have a domain name, or this course might have a domain name called techspace.com. All right, that's our domain name. But if your computer is not on that domain name, which is going to be here, if you click on this, if that techspace.com is not here, that means you're not on a domain. Your computer is just on a local computer without being on any domain. And in a business environment, if you want to kick a computer off a domain, all you just got to do is remove it from a domain, put it to a work group. That computer automatically gets off the domain. And that computer cannot it cannot access any drive, any file, any document from that company anymore, because why? It's been set to be on a work group. Until you switch it back to a domain and put in that company name, which is techspace.com, and then click OK, the computer is going to reboot, then fall back now on that domain for you to be able to access documents and share drives and be able to send information to other computers from your own computer. Does that clarify it? We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it more, and I'm going to explain more as we go further, because we're going to introduce this server to a domain today. That's why I want to go further, so we can introduce this server to a domain, so you guys see exactly, it clarify your point. So, but for right now, we're just going to change just the computer name, and we're going to click OK. Just leave it to work group right there. Don't change anything from there.
Kinsley.
Yes, Mr. Jonathan.
So, from what I'm understanding, so let's say if you are in a company and you haven't been elevated to the domain group yet, you'll not be able to access like resources, the company's resources.
Correct.
Get printer and other things.
Correct. You cannot access the printer. You cannot access no shared drive. You cannot access no files and folders. Even an email from that company, even if you have an email account from that company, so long as that machine is not on the domain, you try to sign in to that email account, to that company, it will not work.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So you have to be on that domain for your email to be able to sign in. Like right now, I am using there's what they call VPN, which company use. It's a firewall that you get access to your company. If your company has a specific VPN, the reason of that VPN is because they want that computer to feel as if that computer is on the domain. It's like you are in the office. So VPN connects you to your domain. Like me, I'm at my house right now. I'm using my Wi-Fi in my house, okay? But my computer is not on my domain. But when I connect to the VPN, it automatically tells my computer's brain that, okay, this computer is back in the office. It brings me to a working environment, tells my computer that computer now is connected to the domain. That is what now gives me now the access for me now to access drive. But if my computer is not connected to that VPN, I cannot access no files, even though the computer is on a domain. If you look at the domain name on my computer, it says mycompanyname.com. So long as I'm not on that VPN, I will still not be able to access shared drives and stuff. Understood?
Is there anyone who's used a VPN before? Just indicate by handshake. Just raise your hand if you've ever used a VPN.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the VPN, but I have a question. So I'm asking that if you are not connected to a domain, do you mean that the other option or the other way around is to have a VPN so that you can access data information?
Go ahead. Like a VPN stands for virtual private network.
Private network, yeah.
Yes.
So what the VPN does is it creates a tunnel from your home or wherever you're connecting from over the internet to your domain at work. So it links you to your work network from wherever you are.
Yes.
So once it does that link using an encryption tunnel, your machine is going to behave as if you are sitting at work, and you'll be able to access all your work resources. So for example, let's say, Roland, your house is my office, is where is the company that I work for. And every day I need to drive to your house, connect to that network to be able to access resources in that network. But I want to work remotely. I want to access those resources remotely. I want to be in that network remotely. I'm going to use a VPN. So a VPN is going to connect my network to your network, and it's going to give me access to your network. and my machine is gonna see everything within your network as if I'm sitting at your home.
Right next to you.
Yes.
That's what a VPN does.
So a VPN is just a tunnel that makes your computer think that I am at work. Okay. So now we're gonna we'll set the name. I'm just gonna click OK. And it's gonna tell the new name that you entered is not a properly format or standard. Okay, it's because I use special numbers. I'm gonna take out, I'm gonna do 16 for this one. I'll do 16.
Yeah, it's because of the point.
It's because I had the point in there. So it does not recognize all those special characters. So I'll do next, which is okay. It says your computer must restart for this to apply. Okay. And when I close this, it's gonna ask me to restart. Restart now. I can do right now. Let's restart. Or you can do later. If you still had configurations to set up, you can do later. But I'm just gonna restart mine because since we're doing we're in class right now. And when it comes up with this, don't press anything. When it says please press CD to press any key to boot from CD, don't press it. Because if you do that, the computer is automatically going to start installing as if you're installing a fresh machine. So we don't want to do that instead. So right now I'm going to log in back. Let me know. Okay, I know my machine is too fast. I'll hold on until you guys are back here so we can log in all together. Let me know when you guys are there.
My computer is not fast. I'm using the new computer, so.
Okay.
Kingsley, is the ISO image now downloaded, please?
No, I don't think it's done yet. Let me just check that. You can see, yeah, it's gonna take forever because I know I'm using my virtual machine now and it's making my computer slow, so it's gonna take a while. But I mean, we can always do that. I can always hang around maybe for another hour again after class, then help some people get up to speed. But for now, let me go further. Right now, I lost my cursor thing, my insert thing, but I have another way to work around this. Let's see. Minimize this, put it down here. Where did mine go? Yeah, I lost. Oh, I hate this when this gets disappear away. I'm trying to get my control out delete. Just bear with me. All right, let me shut this down for a second, then I'll power it back on. Just gotta power it off for a second. I'll power the machine back on.
So is everyone where Kingsley's, Faith, Jarvis, Ola?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
I'm actually at the computer name. So after then we'll click on OK.
Yes.
And choose the work group, then we'll click OK, right?
Yes. No, yeah, don't change. The work group is automatically be by default. It's gonna be ticked off. So all you just gotta do is change your computer name and then click OK.
Okay.
Then when you click OK, it's gonna ask you that this computer is gonna restart after you're done setting the computer name. Just restart as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my
It's asking for computer description. Same computer name, right?
No. When you click on the computer name, right? You click change. You clicked on change, right?
Yeah, I did.
It brought it to a second screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the computer description where you see those funny characters that are in there. Just change it, which is highlighted in blue.
Yeah.
All right, so change that to the computer name. That's the computer. That's where you change the computer name. I believe it says computer description or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my thing disappeared. I don't know how to bring back this scale thing back to. All right, let me close. See, I can use the other machine. So this is the reason why you create so many machines. You can always use a different one. I'll start up this one. They're both the same thing. So don't think that's going to change or anything is going to change from it. They're both the same machines. It's just that the other one is acting funny because why? I lost this taskbar up here. Because that's where you always have to have this taskbar up here because you need it for the input. Because once your machine restart, your machine cannot boot up from keyboard or just bear with me, it's starting up. All right, so this one was I was not complete yet. Okay. I just want to let me do this real quick and meet you guys back where we were on the other machine. Okay. I hope you guys understand all what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to meet you guys back up at where we left off on the other machine because that one is acting funny, but I'll figure it out later. So yep. This is the networking I was talking about.
If we have that situation though, where that stuff is not showing up, how do we get it back? Yeah, those some file machine inputs. How do we get it back to show?
Yeah, I remembered I did this one time, but I have never figured out how to get that back. What I usually just do is just delete the machine and reinstall it back and do a new one. I don't have time to be thinking. I mean, it's the best way. They say sometimes when you break it, you got to figure out a way to fix it. I'm still trying to figure out how to get back this bar here on this.
Yeah, but at work, you'll not be deleting the server.
Yes. You're not going to delete the server. So that's just point of correction.
That's why I'm asking. Like, if I have this situation at work, then I cannot tell my boss that, hey, I can't get it back up.
That's why they say Google is your best friend. You have to research.
I'm gonna. Yeah,
there's a way. You just need to do research.
Yes, I haven't just had the time to do it, but I'll do a research and I'll figure out a way. Let me just change this because I just want to meet you guys back at where we were. This is my WinServer 2016. Yes. WinServer 2016. Yep. I do okay. Yep. Okay. Close. Restart.
Kingsley, I think this one is 2012.
Oh yeah. I just saw it. But I mean, it's the same procedure.
Yeah, it's the same.
So it's the same with 2016. Don't worry about it. Even it's 2016 or 2012. It's still the same procedure. They are both the same machines. I just must have used the wrong ISO image. So we're gonna log back in with a new username now. You're gonna see how the username has changed. So if you log back into your 2016, even though I'm using the 2012, don't worry about it. It's still the same. They're all the same thing. They have the same functionality. All right. So now we're logged in. Your server manager is gonna boot up. If you go now to local server, if you click on local server, you're gonna see the computer name has changed. Even though I put 2016 here, I'm gonna rechange that to 2012 because I didn't know this server was a 2012 server. Now we've changed the computer name. It's changed, but we have to change also the IP address. We have to make the IP address static. Who can tell me how to do that?
Good question.
No, no problem.
Who can tell me how to make the IP address static?
I'm fine, thank you.
You go to network. Then you go to, is it the same as the Windows Windows 10?
Jonathan, this is a Windows server, right?
Yes.
So Windows is Windows. So whatever you have in mind, just
okay, so you go to control panel.
Okay.
You go to network connections. Try to get to IPv4 settings. Then you go, you use your DHCP probably to be automatic. So you change to manual and put in all the IP address, the default gateway, DNS server, and everything. And you click save.
All right. That was another way of the way Mr. Jonathan was saying. So if I minimize, let me minimize this. So you said control panel, right? So if I go to my window, give me a second, I gotta scale this back to 100. So if I go to my Windows right here, you said go to Windows right here, control panel. What else was it again?
Network.
You said network?
Yeah, internet and network.
Let me see. Okay, this internet option.
No, not internet options. You have to go to network and sharing center.
I'm asking Mr. Jonathan to walk me through.
I think you have to go back.
No, you are the right place.
You are the right place. This is control panel, Mr. Jonathan.
Go to network and sharing center. That's where he wants you to be. That's where you have to be.
Network and sharing center. Yes, Mr. Jonathan. What is next?
So you go to, I think, change advanced settings.
Okay, change advanced settings. Nope.
Please go back. Click internet connection.
No, you are Jonathan. You are making the change on your network adapter. Remember?
Yes, that's why I'm showing him. I'm showing you right here.
Yeah.
I'm showing you right here. That's what my cursor is. So change adapter settings. All right. This is where we want to be, right?
Yes. So you right click and go to properties.
Okay. Properties. Okay.
You click
IPv4. Okay. Properties.
Yes.
Okay. Right there. That's good. That's good. All right. That's another way to do it, but that's the long process when it comes to servers. That's you doing it on a regular machine, which is the right way still as well. But on a server, they've made everything pretty much easy for you. So if I open it here in the server manager, right? You see where it says IPv4 right there? You see how it says IPv4 right here? You just click on it. It's going to bring you to your Ethernet data at once. You just right click, properties. You're right there. So the way Jonathan said it was another way to go, which is the longer route. It can take you all day. But the easy route was just to go to server manager. It has it right here. It says IPv4 right there. So that's one thing with the server. It makes everything a little bit easy for you to just access them very quick. So when you click on IPv4, it's going to bring you to your Ethernet adapter right here at once. So it still gives you the part right here. It says all control panel and it shows you the part network connection, which is the same thing, what Mr. Jonathan said. So I go now to properties. I go on to IPv4. We're not using IPv6 because IPv6 is the whole, as Gerard explained to you guys and Mr. Charles explained to you guys in networking. But we're using IPv4. So we'll click properties. Let me know when you guys are here because I don't want to go too fast and then lost you guys at some point.
How do I get back to the service manager?
What was that?
I said it's break time. We can, everyone can get here and then we'll continue after break.
Yes, I'll leave it at this point here. Then after break, we'll continue. Let me minimize this and set a timer.
Okay. Can you also check if you downloaded the ISO image?
It is still going. It's gonna take a while, but this one is gonna take a while.
Kingsley, Kingsley, just pause recording, and I will use the break time and walk Roland and Ketish through downloading that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want to do right now. Let me pause.
Yeah, so don't worry, I'll set the timer when I'm done with them.
All right, let me. I mean, I can hang if you want. I can hang around as well too. So because other people that needs help too as well.
Okay, that's good.
We'll just walk them through over it.
All right, guys, it's break time. Come back in 12 minutes. So for those who have problems, hang around. Let's go through. Let's do the walkthrough.
All right, Jared, let me give you I think your co-host, right?
Yes.
All right. So who do we start first? Who is where first? We want to go for
12 minutes.
12 minutes. Come back in 12 minutes, please.
So the time now is
laptop noise.
What happened?
Your laptop noise, Mr. Fade, Miss Fade, though, we'll do that after class because that's a whole long process. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Stop sharing right now.
Okay. So Roland, Curtis, this is what you need to do. So go to Google.
You're still recording.
Kingsley, are you recording? Did you pause recording, please? Jonathan, close that, and then we'll go very fast.
Yep.
Okay. So what we're about to do now is use VMware or VMware Player or VMware Workstation Pro to install our Windows Server 2016. So you can either use Oracle VirtualBox as your hypervisor, or you can use VMware Workstation Pro or VMware Player as your hypervisor. However, you don't need to go download the ISO image again. You can use the same ISO you downloaded and set up a virtual machine in VMware Workstation Pro or VMware Player. Kingsley just walked you guys through the process of doing that on using Oracle VirtualBox. I'm showing you the same process using VMware Player or VMware Workstation Pro. It is a little bit different, and you have to pay attention to what we're doing here. So Jonathan, this is your VMware workstation. Go back to home because we're starting from scratch. No. If you look right there, home. Good. So you have three options: create a new virtual machine, open virtual machine, and connect. So click on create a new virtual machine. And then make sure typical is highlighted, and then you click next. Okay, you want to make sure you click I will install the operating system later, because by default it's going to try to load this image. So you want to click I will install the operating system later. That is already checked. Next, Microsoft Windows, click on the drop down, because Jonathan, I just wanted to click on the drop down so people see that. Yeah. So when you click on Microsoft Windows, you need to come to this drop down. And if you're installing a 2012 server, you want to pick 2012. If you are installing a 2016 server, you want to pick 2016. So Jonathan already selected 2016. That is it. Next. Now give your server a name. Jonathan, we already have Win Server 2016, so you have to give another naming convention. Yep, that's gonna work. Now, next.
That's a good naming convention right there.
So you want to specify your disk capacity. This is very important, and you have to read this very well. You don't just have to be clicking next. You have to know what you're provisioning. And it says the recommended size for Windows Server 2016 is 60 gigabytes. By default, it's giving you 60. 60 is the minimum. At work, you're not going to be setting a server with the minimum. You always want to give additional storage in case something happens, right? So at work, you'll be provisioning machines, maybe 100 gigs, maybe 200 gigs, but we're at home, we don't want to over provision. So Jonathan, go ahead and do 65. You can use the up arrow, or you can just type 65, that's fine. and you want to split your virtual disk into multiple files, which is checked there. Click next. And this is where you do your final check, the last check before you click finish. So Jonathan, look at the what you've created. Those are the settings right there. So you want to look at that before you click finish. If there is anything that you didn't do well, then you have to click back. You have to go back and fix. So this is where you do your last check that, okay, everything you are provisioning is right. The name, the amount of RAM you want to give, everything. If it's okay, you click finish. Now, that's the machine right there. That's our machine, Win Server 2016A. And those are the settings. You don't need to click on it, Jonathan. That's the machine right in front of you. So that's what we just provisioned. Now, you want to go to Edit Virtual Machine Settings. And it's going to bring down this box, right? This is where, let's say, Jonathan, you want to increase the memory of this machine. If you move on the right, that's where you can increase that memory. Go to the right. You see, if you want to add memory, if you say maybe 2 GB is not enough, you want to add something. So let's just add a little bit of memory. So what I'm showing you right now is how to make edits on the machine before you provision. Let's say we provision the 2 GB and you get an email saying, oh, make that machine 3 GB or 2.5 GB of memory. You haven't launched the machine yet. This is where you can come make the edits. So maybe let's add something, just add a little something. I'm just showing you how to add to increase memory. Yeah, that's fine, yeah. And we have 2 processors. We have a hard disk. I will show you how to add another hard disk. So go click on hard disk. So what we are doing now, you don't need to do this. But say, for example, the 65 gigs is not enough. And they want you to add another 20 gig on this machine. So you click on hard disk, go all the way to the bottom, click on add. All the way, no. Add. Right? You click next. You do SCSI, that's good. Next, create new virtual hard disk. Now, we already have 65. Let's add another 25, for example. And you do next. Next, finish. Now, look at the screen, what happened? You see additional storage has been added, right? So our total disk capacity right now is 85 gigabytes because we have our main hard disk, which is 65 gigabytes, and then we've added an additional 25 gigabytes, right? That is sweet. So remember, our ISO is not yet loaded on the system. So we want to do that right now. So you want to click on CD/DVD. And make sure your device always says connect. Make sure device status always says connect at power on, which is automatically checked for you. Now, click on use this ISO image. We want to go get our ISO and load to the system. Now, click on browse. Okay, go to your downloads. Let's find the ISO you downloaded. And that is it right there. Which one did you download?
The second one should be the right one. That one that you has, yeah. That's the right one right there.
Yeah.
Click on it.
Okay. You click on it, you click open, and that is it right there, right? And go to network adapter. No, one step down.
Right there.
You see, it says use NAT. When you're using a VMware player, you always want to use NAT. Don't breach. If you breach, it's going to give you a lot of headaches. So take note, with VMware, you're not bridging. And I'll tell you why you're not bridging later. Now, I think USB, sound, and printer display, those other ones, don't worry about that. Now click on OK. And now you can power on your virtual machine. Don't press anything.
Did you press anything?
No.
Mine said timeout, download or install, like a dialog box came up.
What timed out?
When I got to the stage that I said it should play, it said timed out. Like instead of this, it said timed out. Then a dialog box came up and it says download and install.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of have the same thing, but mine says software update. The following software is available for download. VMware tools for Windows Vista and later version 11.1.5.
Let's leave this there. We'll take this after class.
Okay.
Yeah, let's leave this there. After we're done with the installation of the Oracle, we'll go on.
Okay.
On this one.
Yeah, so that is the process to set it up on VMware. We can go into the nitty-gritties as why you guys are having problems after class, but that is how you set it up. So I'm gonna let Kingsley continue with configuring the server 2016, and after class we're gonna troubleshoot your personal issues.
Definitely. All right. Let me start sharing so we'll see where we ended. Okay. So we're done with the process of changing the computer name. Now we have to change the IP address now. I'm gonna do IP address right here. It's an adapter. I believe we were all the way down here. IPv4 right there, properties, and then we were here. I hope you guys can see my screen, right?
Which man?
Can you go back? Can you go back and talk from the beginning?
So, Mr. Emeka, I was here. You already changed the computer name, right?
Yeah, I've done that.
All right. So now we're setting the static IP address for this server, because you need, as I explained earlier, that we need a static IP address to work on this server before we go ahead and install Active Directory and domain controller with DHCP. So you're gonna click on IPv4 address assign. It says assigned by DHCP, but we don't want it to be assigned by DHCP. We want to set a static one. So you right click on the Ethernet, go to properties. You go to IPv4 version controller. You click properties again. After you highlight it, you click properties. It's gonna bring you here. Right now it's set to obtain IP address automatically, but we want to make it use our own IP address. To set an IP address, first of all, you will need to know the IP address on your computer, your main computer. So you go to CMD, and you get your IP address and your default gateway, which is ipconfig. Right there, hit enter. Okay. So this is giving me my VirtualBox, my wireless adapter. I know that, yes, my default gateway for my system here, this is my wireless LAN. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at this one. I'm not looking at that one. This is the one right here. My IPv4 IP address right here. This is my IP address for my main computer, my local computer. That's not my virtual computer. And I have my default gateway right here, which is .1. Okay. So if I'm assigning an IP address to that virtual machine, I won't want to invite anything with 119. I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm going to close this. I'll click on use the following IP address.
Sir, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Please, I'm seeing your subnet mask 255.255.255.0 for class A. I don't know how you got it.
Because of it's my ISPN.
Yeah, but normally what we unanimously agreed on other classes was that IP address being a class A should be 255.0.0.0, not
no, it's supposed to be 3255. Look at when I'm putting in here, when I put the IP address in here, you see it's going to automatically give me the subnet mask for that IP address. So watch. If I do 10.0.0, then the last octet, I always want to assign my servers because I've always made my my own. I learned this from watching a video. Can you just mute yourself for a second, Bismarck? All right, thank you. So I learned this from a video when I was watching how to set up static IPs. That if you look at it, my default, I go by the default gateway. My default gateway IP address is 10.0.0.1. All right. If I want to make my servers, I'm going to make my servers. I'm going to assign that 10.0.1, and 10.0.2 is going to be my static IP for my my servers. So from 10.0.2 all the way 10.0.20, I always leave those IP addresses for servers. All right. If you understand what I'm trying to do, I leave those IP addresses for servers. Then from 10.0.21 and going up, I leave those for machines all the way to 100 to 10.0.100 here. I leave those to for PCs. If I'm making this a domain controller and a DSCP server, so I let DSCP know that assign these IP addresses to the following people. Assign them to these following people from this amount to this amount. I'm going to show you that in the process too as well. But for here, I'm going to use 10.2 since 0.2. Then we're going to, when I click on this one now, my default gateway, if I click here, you see, this is what we were talking about, Bismarck, right? It's right?
No.
The one, yes, I know my main machine has a different one, right? If I go, my main machine has a different one. You see, it has 255.255 dot this, right? Because I set it to be that way.
Okay, I got
so
I
set, yes, I set a static IP address for my machine, but I can always change my subnet mask back to whatever I want it to be.
So the networkers are playing a game, sir.
I'm playing a game with my networker, so I don't want to go too far into that. So let's not go into that one right now. But let's stick with what, like when you click on this, as you're done putting the IP, you click on the next tab, it automatically fills it out for you because the subnet masks go by the IP address you input. If your IP address is 192 or one class B IP address, when you put it here, as you click the subnet mask, it's automatically go by class B subnet mask automatically. You don't fill in that spot. The only thing you fill here is IP address and your default gateway. The default gateway we're going to put here is going to be the default gateway of my router, which is this default gateway, this one, because I wanted to be able to get information from my main, for you to be able to talk to the internet from my main machine, because the default gateway is like a bridge that connects this virtual machine and the internet. So I need that default gateway. If I don't put that default gateway here, this machine is going to have a static IP, but it will never get internet services after I'm done. If you want, you can try it with yours, just play around with yours. But we're going to go in and put the default gateway, which is 10.0.0.1.
So that default gateway is the IP of your router in your network.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you for this point, you are going to put the default gateway of your own router in your house, not mine. Because so I'm using mine because I'm going by the example I show you how to find that out. For you to know your default gateway, just open command prompt on your local machine, type ipconfig.com. You will see your IP address for your local machine, and you also see the default gateway for your router in your house.
Can you show me what your command prompt gave you? real quick.
Right
I'm
there.
trying to pick one. So I have one for my VMware, and I have
no,
one.
No, don't go to VMware. Look at, you see the title here. You see this title here, where it says wireless LAN. You see this title here?
Yep.
This is what you're looking under. You're looking under here. Forget about all these ones all over here. Those are different devices on my network that are telling me that they have their own IP address. I can tell from their own IP addresses here. You see them? But focus on the one that says the VLAN adapter, because me, I'm using a Wi-Fi on my machine. If yours was plugged into an internet cable, it will not say Wi-Fi here. It will say LAN, a local LAN.
Okay.
Yes. So focus on those. That's the IP address you want to get. Then if you look underneath here, you see it has IPv6 and it has IPv4. You want to go by the IPv4 address because that's your IP address for your system. Mine is saying 10. This because this is my my service provider, my ISP, and this is my default gateway right here. So you are going to look on yours. You're going to take your IP address, even though you don't want to use the IP address because here is 119. That's the IP address for this computer. But here I'm using 10. That's 10.2 because I'm using it. I've made my own concept of having 10.2 because I know 10.1 is always going to be the one for my my router in my house, and I cannot touch that IP address anymore because it's been taken. So I'm using 10.2 now for my server. If I want to install the 2012 server 2 as well, if I want to make it static, I'm going to use 10.3 now. If I want to do another 2016 server, I'm going to do 10.4 all the way to 20. That's just my concept that I've done, that I've used 10. Yes.
Yeah, please, one quick question. So let's say if you use 10.0.0.5,
yes,
that has already been assigned to a different, and that IP address has already been assigned. How will you know that it has already been assigned? Let's say, for instance, the 10.2 that you just use as your static IP address, the DHCP had already assigned it to a printer that you, maybe a computer that you didn't know.
So on your network scope, right? On your network scope, when you're working in a working environment, before they even tell you to give a machine a static IP address, you have people that their job is just to know the IP addresses that are being given. And a DHCP server is being set. Like the videos that I sent to you guys are going to see what I'm talking about in there. You're going to understand it. If you really watch that, if you're really interested, watch that video. Those videos, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking in here right now. Like you set a scope, like at your job, right? They've configured a DHCP server to have a scope that, okay, they've told the DHCP server that give out from this address from 10.100 to 10.200, assign it to just PCs. Assign it just to PCs. Then they've told the DHCP server, configure it to be like, okay, from 10.2, because they know that 10.1 is automatically the ISP and router for that company. They've told the DHCP server that assign from 10.2 all the way to 10.50 to be just for servers. So, and they'll tell the DHCP server that as you're giving out IP, start from the first IP, start from this route, go by this route, go by this route. So the person, before the person will even come and give you that, they'll give you an assignment that, okay, we want you to configure this server to be a static IP address, and they will give you an IP address to give to that server. They will not just tell you that go configure the DHCP server without them giving you an IP address. They will always give you an IP address that make this server this IP address, because they've already gone to the DHCP server, see the last IP address that was given out. They've seen the last IP address that was given out, and then now they'll tell like, okay, the next one that's supposed to fall under is going to be 10.20. They'll be like, okay, assign this server to 10.20. Because you cannot go one by one to all the machines and be like, oh, like, okay, command prompt, let me check the IP address, command prompt, check the IP address. No, that is the reason why you have a DHCP server. And when it assigns the IP address, the machine name is next to the IP address. That's a whole different DHCP. DHCP is a whole different concept. You can go on YouTube, see how to configure a DHCP server, and it will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So that's how the configuration works. That's the reason, the whole reason for DHCP server, because it assigns out IP. And when it assigns an IP out to a machine, that's why you give a machine a name. You give a machine a host name. Because when it assigns that IP address, it copies the log file, which is the host name and the IP address, and it keeps it for whoever manages that server. The person is going to go in and be like, okay, let me check the amount of system that we have on our network and which IP address is assigned to what server or what machine. That's why when you log in to the log file, it's going to tell you that this IP address belongs to Windows Server 2016. This IP address belongs to File Server 2016. This IP address belongs to Data Server, this, just like that. So that's the whole concept why we do that. Does that explain your question, Mr. Jonathan?
Yes, please. But the other one that I also wanted to know was, I mean, just you personally, like in your house, like as we are doing right now, we've just assigned 10.0.0.2, right?
Yes.
So what if this IP address is already taken by, let's say, a machine, like a different machine on your network?
Then it will show you.
Oh, it will show you. Okay.
Yeah, you can. It will tell you that it will have a conflict once you're done with this. It's going to have a conflict. You won't have network. You won't even have network on this machine, because if I'm done, right? When I'm done, and you see this network icon here, once I'm done setting the static IP, we will restart this machine. And when the machine comes back, if this icon is not like this, that means you don't have internet access.
Okay.
You will not have internet access. That means that IP address has been taken. That's just a simple way to figure it out for now, because you don't have a DHCP server, and your DHCP server is not being managed by you in your house.
Okay.
It's being managed by your ISPN.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
But if you want to go into that routing, you probably have to go dig nut and find out what your router is giving out. That's a whole different subject. That's Cisco certified networking now. Okay. That means you have to go dig into your router, see what your DHCP server in your router is giving out.
Okay.
Yeah, and you don't want to try that, because you can go in there and mess things up.
All right.
And here you see now we're trying to give it an alternate IP address in case for it to get configuration from the network. If you want to get it says use the following DNS. We're trying to get a DNS server. Here I can use for DNS server, I can use Google, or I can use my loopback address. I can use the loopback address in here, which is 127 dot, I think it's .0, is it .0, right? .0.0.1. I believe so. Or I can use the Google server, which is 8.8.8.8. Or I can still use the Google server, which is 8.8.4.4. Those two IP addresses are Google server's IP addresses. DNS server, sorry. I can use those as my alternate DNS server. But the one that I'm using right now is my router right here. And I'm using my loopback address. And we're going to go ahead and click. Mr. Jonathan, you're saying something, you're mute. If you're saying something.
Oh, me? No, please.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
No. Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead.
For a minute?
Yes. Let me know when you guys are you're here.
So the Google server is 8844, correct? And then 8888.
Yes. You can still use it
same all the time.
Yes, you can use it at both ones here, because they're all set to static. You can even use it. You see where I have my loopback address? I can change the loopback address to the 88.8. So I can use 8.8.8.8 instead of the loopback address. So those are just alternate route for DNS to be able to resolve. You're just setting up a DNS server so you can resolve IP address to host names. Understood?
So do we copy our IP address and the default gateway just like we did when we did that IP config?
On where? On where? Your local machine or on your?
On the IP address.
The reason why I was showing you this is because you have to know your default gateway from your local machine, because the default gateway goes to all machines. They're all the same. All your machines have the same default gateway, but the IP addresses changes. My IP address is static here because why? I set my local machine to have a static IP address by myself. Same way we're doing for the server, you can do that on your local machine. But you just got to know. You got to know the IP address you're assigning for your local machine. Like you see this IP address, it was first of all it was a dynamic IP address on my local machine. So when I did ipconfig.com ipconfig, when my machine was still on dynamic IP addressing, this was the IP address I had. So all I just did was I went now into my system and my IPv4 configuration and changed from dynamic to static, but I still use the same IP address that was there during a dynamic process without restarting the machine yet. Because if I had this IP address before and I restarted my machine, it would have come back with a different dynamic IP address. But I did not do that yet. All I did was just look at the IP address, I write it down, and then I went into my static settings. I changed my configuration for my own local machine into the same IP address that was there as a dynamic IP address, just because I don't want to have conflict with another machines. Then when I restarted the machine, it came back with that same address, and it just stayed there.
Senior Kingsley,
yes.
Out of curiosity, could you go back to the command prompt again, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the subnet max.
Yeah,
here.
the same question,
right?
Which,
yeah, but when I checked on mine also, it's the same thing. So I don't know if it's something that the ISP.
Yes, that has to do with your ISPN.
Okay.
What are you using, Comcast or Verizon?
Yes, please.
Comcast, right?
Yeah.
So that's the subnet mask that they assign out. It's a DSCP server that is taking care of that, so you don't have to worry about it because it's not from us.
Okay.
Like when we were doing this machine here, you see how it came out to this one? It automatically assigned because this is a class A IP address that I'm setting up here. If it was a class B IP address, it will give you a different subnet mask.
Yeah, thank you.
Understood? Yeah. So if you guys are already here, we're gonna go ahead. We'll hit OK.
Quick question, Kingsley.
Yes.
When we are doing the static IP address, is it advisable that we use the first numbers for our local machine, like those class A? Like my machine is a class B, I will use a class B and then just change that to 2, or can we use a class A?
No, you have to use
the same class.
You have to stay with the same class.
Okay,
because you cannot make your because of your ISPN service provider. Because if you change it now, you've just messed up your whole everything.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. All right, now we've changed that IP address. We're gonna go ahead now and close this. You see how my network connection went away? It says no internet service, and then it came back on. You see, I had a triangle, an orange triangle on it before. That was telling me that it's trying to see if that IP address is available or not. And now my internet has come back, but I have a static IP address. So it shows that IP address was free. It was not taken. But if it was taken, I would have still had that orange triangle on it for just sitting there. It wouldn't have gone away. If your orange triangle sit there for a long time, that means that IP address is conflicting with somebody else. Just for me to confirm that that IP address has been changed, I will go into command prompt here on my server and type IP config. Okay. So you see the IP address I gave? It's right here. That's the IP address I gave it. That's the subnet mask it came with. And this is my local machine's IP address. This one. You see it right there? This is the subnet mask it came with. So those subnet masks I cannot change because it was given by my ISPN. This one is the one that we assign it here, the IP address, and then it automatically picks up its own subnet mask, which has to do with the class A IP address. That was what happened. And now this has been set as a static IP address. Just for us to make sure this IP address work, we're going to restart the machine. So everything.
My own is saying unidentified network.
Unidentified network, right?
Yeah.
What did you put for your
my IP address?
Yes. What is your IP address in your house, first of all?
The IP address is 192.168.1.
So you have a class B IP address, right? That's a class B, right? It's a class C. 192.
Yes, 192, yes.
Okay. So then what did you put for default gateway?
192.168.1.254.
Is that your default gateway for your home router?
Yeah.
What is it? Then what did you put on the server when we're configuring the server as a default gateway?
I put the same thing.
The same default gateway on your home router, right?
Yeah.
And your DNS, what did you put for DNS?
The DNS, I did exactly what you told us to do, which is the 127.
Use 88. No, instead of using the loopback, use the Google server. Change it to the Google server.
Okay.
Put 8.8.8. Then the second one you put 8.8.4.4.
Okay, hold on.
Yep. Anyone else having issues with yours?
Okay, so for
the preferred DNS, let me just open mine so you see it again.
You said 8.8.8.
Yes, use 8.8.8. Then use 8.8.8.4 right there. Is anyone else having issues?
Yes. How about if I use like the dynamic IP that is I get from the command line prompts for the
server?
But yes.
So that means before you even did before you wanted to put it to static IP, right? You first of all went to command prompt and see what dynamic IP you had, right?
Yes.
You can still use that. That is exactly what I was explaining. That's what I was explaining on my local machine, because that was what I do on my local machine, just because I don't want to have conflict with my ISPN or different machines that I have in my network that had different IPs. So you can still just change. You can just write that IP address down that you had as a dynamic IP address. Then when you go in there, just simply change it to that same IP address, because that was the IP address that was assigned to automatically when that machine was loaded up. You can still use that IP address to be a static IP address. You just make it stay on that same IP address. That's some other easy way. But me, I'm doing mine like this because why? I'm just have my own concept. Everybody has their own concept of doing it. But when you're in a working environment, they will give you an IP address to assign to a specific machine, because they're getting it from the DSP server. All right, Mr. Emeka, are you there now?
Yeah, I got the same information. Like no unidentified network.
Is it unidentified network?
Yeah.
Can I see your screen? Let me see the screen. Let me see what it shows there.
Can you see it?
It's a little bit blurred. You cannot connect Zoom on that machine?
I didn't download Zoom on this machine.
Okay. It still says unidentified network?
Yeah, it still says unidentified network.
Do a restart.
For the server or for my whole system?
The server. Because I'm going to restart mine as well. Okay. I'm going to restart the server. So to make sure the IP address that I assigned to it, it stays the same IP address. That's just how you confirm.
So how do you do a restart? Do you just go and click close?
No, you can click on if you go down on the bottom left hand side, you see the Windows icon like this. You see this Windows icon right here.
Okay.
You click on it, click on the power button, see. You see this? Click on it, highlight on this power button, click on it, it's gonna show you restart. Yeah, you do that.
It's not gonna restart my whole system, is it?
No. You're doing that just for the virtual box.
Okay. Oh, nice. Restart my whole system.
That means you click on the wrong one. Because look at mine. I have my virtual box hanging here. This is my virtual box hanging here. It has its own menu. Like if I sign in, let me see. But I mean,
just close it off.
You can see just close it and then open it back again. Close the whole virtual machine.
Yeah, let me open it up again.
All right, I'm gonna sign back in into my machine. So you see this is my virtual machine, Mr. Maker. This is how you can tell. Don't put it full screen. Because if you put it full screen, if you put your virtual machine full screen like this, you're gonna get confused thinking that this is the start menu. Okay, so don't put it full screen. Always put it on a small screen so you can tell the two different machines. Even when you're doing remote desktoping in another machine, you always want to leave the remote machine to be like this in a small form. You don't want to make it too big, because you get confused from the start menu. You will not tell which one is which. So now my system is back now up, and I still have my internet access. That means shows that my IP address is working. Just for me to confirm that I still have that same IP address, let me go do CMD to make sure it's the same IP address. If it hasn't changed, if it changed, that means the static IP will configure did not work. I mean, we did not do the static IP configuration well. But right now, if you look at it, my IP address is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. So it's right there, still 10.10.0.2. I still have a static IP address with the server, and I have internet. Just for me to know that I have internet on my system, I can go open Internet Explorer. It's just gonna test. That's the first time we just add on messages for letting you know. I can do google.com, just to make sure I have internet access. So you're about to open a page. Okay, that's okay. Close right there. You see, I can access Google on my server. I can search stuff. That means my server is getting internet from my local machine. All these error messages is just to let you know, just for security reason. It's just telling you that yes, you're about to open a different page and whatnot. Right there.
I don't see that. I don't see that Windows like you have on my own.
That means you've enlarged yours to bigger one. You have to minimize it.
See, it's not enlarged. I'm not seeing the Windows at all.
You use the whole that system to be a server?
Do you I minimize it.
No, are you on the virtual box or are you using the whole system to be a server?
I don't understand. I'm using the virtual box.
All right, so you open VMware, this box right here. You have this right here, right?
VMware.
And you have the machine
well,
right there.
I closed that out. I closed that out because I wanted
to close the complete machine. Close the machine out. Let me see.
Okay, it told me to power off the machine.
Power. Go choose the last option on the bottom, the one that says shut power off the machine. Highlight the last option on the bottom.
Okay, I have. So
then click OK. Again? Click OK. Like if I want to shut down this machine, like if I click X on here, it's gonna show me click this option.
Yeah, that's what I did.
All right, then click OK. Did you do it?
I did. Yeah,
the machine shut down, right? Go back now to the virtual machine, the virtual box, right? Oh, I closed my virtual box, even though my machine is still running. Let me open my virtual box. So you go to the virtual box right here, highlight the machine that you want to use, the one that you want to use, then click show.
Click
it's gonna show up top all the way up. So you highlight the machine right here. This is show right here.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Or start.
Well, mine says start, yeah.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. It just says show or start. So is the machine booting up?
It's starting.
Let me see how it looks like. Okay, it's gonna come up to another screen. Minimize that virtual. Minimize this one. See, minimize this part. Just minimize this.
Okay. Now it's still starting up.
Okay, give it a minute when it starts up. You want to resize it. You want to resize the screen so it doesn't be bigger than your main screen. All right, see if you don't see it, let me see. If you don't see it, are you logged into the machine? All right, it's still booting up. Just exit out of that message that I see up top. Exit out of that message that is showing up top there. All right, while you're doing that, Mr. Emeka, let's continue. Let me know when it boot up. So now that we've set up a static IP, if you go here.
Yeah, I still have a problem. I've not succeeded. It tells me that the default gateway is not on the same network segment that is defined by the IP address and subnet max.
What default gateway did you use?
I use the same one for my
can you share your screen? Can you share your screen? Let me see. Hold on, let me give you permission so you can share your screen. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Let me stop sharing for a second so I can see your screen because stop sharing. Okay, let me give you permission so I can see. That's Jarvis. Make you co-host. All right, go ahead, Mr. Jarvis, share your screen. Let me see. Let's see your computer. Let's go by your computer. And the rest people can take the example from there. All right. All right, just take no from that. Let me see. I want to see the IP addresses that you use. Take no. No, that's just a warning. Hold on, that's just a warning. It was telling you a warning. So hold on. Let me see. 192.196.135.1. Okay. You see how the subnet mask is different? Did you type in that? You do not type in the subnet mask, right? You just click on it and it came up, right? Okay, that's fine. Your default gateway, go to your local machine itself, not your virtual machine. Let me see the default gateway on your local machine. So do CMD on your local machine. Minimize the virtual machine down. Minimize the virtual machine. For now, just minimize up top here. No. Right? No. See, all the way up. Out of that screen, all the way up.
Quick question, Kingsley. Can we have the same static IP address as our default gateway?
No. It cannot be the same. Because it's going to have a conflict, because while your default gateway is already, the IP address of your default gateway is already taken. So you can instead set something else, like I did with mine. I took the IP address of my default gateway, and then I do, instead of a .1, which is my default gateway, I do a .2.
Okay.
So Jarvis, I was telling on your top right hand side, all the way on this white screen, the white screen. You see where the Oracle virtual box, Oracle virtual box, all the way top. Minimize.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still seeing one screen. Can you stop sharing? Stop sharing the share back again.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing the same screen that we were on last time.
Okay. Which screen should I put on? The command prompt?
Yeah, share your main computer, not the virtual box. Just share your desktop. Share your desktop. Share your desktop. The one that says desktop.
Show me everything here.
So if you click, all right. So if you click on share, right? If you click on share, right? The first screen that you see, the first screen all the way to your top left hand side, the one that you see, it says go back to basic. The one that says it sees that you can see us. The one that you see us on the screen. Like right now, I just share my screen. Let me stop sharing so you can share instead.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, click on the share that one instead. Okay. Go now to CMD on this machine. That's what I want you to do. Go to command prompt on that machine. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. All right. So right here, Ethernet adapter, your wireless, you're using the Wi-Fi to connect on your computer, right? Yeah. So your default gateway here is 1.9 192.168.0.1.
Yeah.
Okay. Then this is your IP address of your. Go back now to that. Let's go back now to the virtual machine. I've seen what I'm looking for. Bring up the virtual machine. Let me see. Okay.
Yeah, this is it.
So you see where can you see where your error is? Can you show me where? I've seen your error, but can you show me where it is?
On the IP address.
Yes. Where did you get 135 from?
But I took it from here, IPv4.
Oh, okay. 130. No, you took the wrong IP address. The IP address you're supposed to take is this one. Come down to where you say wireless LAN. Yes, that's the right IP address. That's not that one. That's why I told you guys, pay attention to the headings. That one says Ethernet adapter of virtual box. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for the wireless LAN adapter of your Wi-Fi. So that's why I showed you guys to pay attention to that. And the IPv4 of that Wi-Fi LAN, it says 192.168.0.32. So the mistake that you have is this .0. That's why you're not getting internet access. So change that to .0 and then to do an OK. Go back to the screen. Let me see. Yes, change that to .0. Just change just that. Put 0. Click now. OK. All right. Did you get the error message again? Click close. Click close on that area. Close that. All right. Hold on. You see how the orange this thing is going to go away. Just do a restart on your machine. Do a restart on the server. Okay, Mr. Emeka, you see how he has his down here? If you look on his virtual box, you see how he has the Windows icon there? Jarvis, click the window icon on your virtual machine. Yes, right there.
Yeah, I restarted my system, so.
But you restarted your whole system. Click on the power button, Jarvis. Do restart. Yeah, just do continue. So you're making now the IP address to take effect. Don't click anything. When you see that says press anything to load from CD, don't press it. Just let it load back. Let's. All right, log into your machine. Okay. Okay, click there. Let's see. Let me see. Hold on, it's loading. Okay. 68.0 does Ethernet. Yeah, click on that. Click on the IP address again. Let me see something. Go back, right click there, go to IPv4. Properties, IPv4. Properties. Yeah. So you give, okay. So your IP address now is, but you don't have a default gateway. You're missing a default gateway.
Yeah.
So put in a default gateway now. What is your default gateway on your main computer? So it's 192.168.0.1. So you see where you have a problem? Go back now to that IP address. So you use your default gateway as the IP address instead to that system. So you have to change that to .2. 168.0.1. Then go back now to IP .1. So go back now.
Kingsley, if he has another device in the network, the thing is we don't know how many devices he has on his network.
Yes, I'm just
so if we are doing a .1 or .2, it might be there's a chance that it might also conflict. Let's say suppose he's using multiple devices, TV.
Yes. That
and other stuff in his network. So I would suggest that we give a high IP instead of the .2, might do like .20 or .25.
Do 20 or the 25. Do the 25 just to make it so we don't have conflict with other devices. Do 25, right? Do okay. All right, do close now. Right there. You see how you get internet right now? So do yes. All right. That means you have internet right now. Even though it says unidentified networking, but you have internet. Just to do a search, go to Google, internet. Go Internet Explorer. No, Internet Explorer right down your taskbar. Just do okay. You just for one, just do google.com. Let's see. And another way to sometimes for you to find out that an IP address has not been taken on your network, you can go to the command line, type the IP address there, just ping the IP address. If you get a response, that means that IP address is in use. If you don't get a response, that means the IP address is not in use. If you get a service timeout, if you get a request timeout, that means that IP address has not been taken. You can still use the IP address. That's the easiest way to do it. Just click uncheck the box. Uncheck the box. No, down. No. Yes, uncheck the box. Click close. Right there. You see how you have internet, right? But still, you still have the orange icon on there. But it doesn't mean they don't have internet. It's just because it's a virtual machine, and you're taking internet from your main machine. So it should be fine. For you to know that that IP address has been taken, you can go ping the IP address. You can go to your main computer, ping that IP address. So ping 192.168.0.25. No. You put a comma. You put a comma instead, not that. Yep. 25. Ping it. So it looks like the NIC is not getting them a service. Hold on, let me see mine. Oh yes, it's because I'm getting the same thing too, even though the computer talks to the network. They're not on the same domain. Go on the computer itself, ping the IP address from there. Go on the virtual machine itself. Open command prompt from there and ping the IP address. No, 192. 168.0.25. You see how you're getting a response? That means it's working. But you cannot ping it from your local machine because why? They're not on the same domain. So he cannot talk as we're talking about domain. He cannot talk to that machine, so you not see the machine. You think that IP address is still not taken. But until when we do a domain controller, so you can stop sharing. Let me take over back.
Okay, I can't see the listing on the icon, the Windows icon.
But can you configure the IP address?
It's still saying on that side network.
All right, just do what I did with Jarvis. Go to open Internet Explorer.
I don't see internet. Can I share my screen?
You have Zoom now on the machine?
Yeah, I did.
All right, then which one do you have? Are you logged into the machine?
I am.
But I see just one Emeka. Oh, you have two Emeka here. So now which one it is?
The one that has the cameras off.
Oh, the one that the camera is off?
Yeah.
All right, let me make you co-host. Okay, go ahead and share the screen. Let me see.
Can you see my screen?
It's still loading. All right, we can see your screen. Minimize the zoom now. Minimize the close. Yeah, minimize that taskbar. Okay.
Okay.
So this is your virtual machine, right?
Yes.
Can you close all these tabs first? Close everything.
Which tabs?
The ones that you have open. All those IP address, the IP address configuration.
This one here?
No. The one on your virtual machine. Yes, close that. Close that one too. Minimize.
His default gateway. His default gateway said .2.
No, I want us to start everything from. I want us to start from beginning.
254.
So Emeka, minimize that. Close that this Ethernet. Yes, close the Ethernet. No. Close. Yes, close that. All right. Minimize this service manager. Server manager. Yes, minimize. That's your virtual machine right there. Bring your your icon all the way down. Bring your mouse all the way down to the screen. Okay. Expand your screen. All right. Click on the screen. Click on the empty screen. Just click on the empty screen. Yes, scroll. No. Yes, scroll down. Let me see something. Right there.
Okay.
So your thing will scroll down. All right. Go back now to the server manager. Go back to server manager. Right there on the yes. Click there. Go to IP. Yes, IPv. Click there. Your screen is. You have to scroll up. Scroll up the way you scroll. Yes, scroll there. All right. Right click on there. Go to property and go to IP. Go to the IP static IP settings. Right there. Properties. All right. Go to your main machine. Go back to your main machine. Let me see the IP address of that main machine. That laptop that you're using. Open command prompt. Yep. Do IP config. Okay. See the wireless adapter. Your IP address. Your default gateway is 192.168.1.254. That's your default gateway. What ISPN are you using?
I'm using this one here.
No, what ISPN? What ISPN? What ISPN are you using? That's an interview question I'm asking you right now.
What ISPN I'm using? I'm using this one here. Under the
no, what line. ISPN? What is your service provider? What ISPN
are you using? Oh, my ISPN. Oh, sorry, it's AT&T.
AT&T, right?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Curtis, did I clarify your question about his default gateway?
Yes.
Because it's different service provider. It's different ISPN that he uses. So you guys gotta be, you guys be very, very, very cautious with all these terminologies that we use. That's why I ask you what's your ISBN. It doesn't have to take you 20 minutes to figure out what ISBN means.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You're still getting there. You're getting the hang of it. So your default gateway here is 1.254. That's okay. You see how you're different. Let's go back now to your virtual machine. Minimize this. Let's go to your virtual machine back. Okay. So now you set your IP address to be 1. Okay.
I put at 80. I put at 89 because
that's fine.
There was saying that
the higher you go, the higher you go, the better. Because now you don't want to have conflicts with other IP addresses. So click OK.
So everything in here is right?
Yes. Click OK. All right. Close. All right. Close that. Close the Ethernet. You see how it says on the unidentified network? That's fine. It does not mean they don't have internet service. Minimize that server manager. Go to scroll down, go to Internet Explorer. Click on Internet Explorer. Let's verify that you have internet service coming into your server. Scroll up. Yeah, hold on, just hold on, it's loading. I believe. Yes, click OK. All right, go in there, type google.com. Go to search bar. Did it freeze? It looks like it froze. So stop sharing and then share back again. Let's see.
It froze?
Yes. You're not typing. You're typing Google, right? But we don't see anything. It just froze.
Oh, okay.
So stop sharing, then share back again. Now we're gonna see. Yeah.
How do I get to stop sharing? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I think Zoom is off.
All right. So I stopped your sharing. I did stop your sharing. Okay. Then let me stop sharing now so you can share back again.
Oh, I have to log back into Zoom. Hold on. I'm not in Zoom.
No, it shows that you're in.
No, it's only one that's in. The other one is not in.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I'm not. I think it knocked me off, or something happened.
Yeah. So log back into that one, then share your screen. You're not still logged in, or are you?
No, I'm logging in right now. Okay, I'm logging in right now.
Okay. Okay. Accept. Okay. You want to mute? Can you mute it? Okay. You said the one that the camera is off. I'm gonna make you co-host so you can share. Go ahead and share now. Let's see. All right, go to your virtual machine. Okay, do google.com. I'm gonna go to open the search. Click OK. Click OK.
I don't have internet.
All right, go to ping.
Cause right here.
Did you breach this machine? Go to the virtual box. Go to the virtual box. Minimize the machine. Go to the virtual box. Let me see something. Go to settings. Go to settings. Yes. Go to network. That's your problem right there. You see your problem? Where it says NAT, it's supposed to be breach adapter. That's where you had a problem. So click OK now. Okay. Shut down that machine. No. Right. Yeah. Go. No. Go top left, top right hand side. Top right hand side. Just X out. Top right hand side. X out. Right there. You don't even need to even shut down the machine. You see how your internet has changed? No. Do cancel. You see how your internet has changed?
Okay.
So now you have internet because why? You had it on NAT. And I always tell you guys that's the whole point why we always do these things. We make sure we do the configuration because small things, little things like that, it can kill you. Just hit OK. Little things like that can make you brainstorm your head in your office until you can even hit your head on the wall for no reason. Just because you miss one step. Those are the little things that can kill us. Just click uncheck the box for continue, then close. Uncheck that box, then close. Uncheck the box, close. You should get Google. Google's gonna pop up now, right there. Go to command line on your virtual machine. Ping that IP address. Go to command line on your server. CMD. CMD. Just type CMD in there.
It's going slow.
Yes, right there. Do I ping? Yes, ping. Yep, space. No. Not ping IP config. Ping the IP address that you just put.
Okay.
What was the server name? Do the server name that you gave to that server. All right. No, that server name is not correct. Go back to server manager. Go back to server manager. All right. You see how you're getting the request? You see how you got the replies, right?
Yes.
What just happened there was that your DNS server now was resolving your IP address to host name. It was sorry, the other way. Your DNS server, which was a Google server that we put as a preferred DNS, it was resolving that the host name to an IP address. That's why it gave you a good reply. If that host name was not right, it wouldn't have resolved that. It wouldn't have resolved. It would have just do request timeout or system not even found.
Emeka, I'm gonna give you one quick homework just for you, Emeka. If you take a look at the reply you are getting from your IP, it's responding in IPv6 instead of IPv4.
Yes.
I want you to fix that so it can respond with an IPv4 address. That's your homework. That's your take home. Because you're supposed to be getting an IPv4 address, not an IPv6.
I know, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, so go to your NIC and fix that. We can do that. We've done that a couple of times in class. I think Jonathan faced this problem one time. And we're able to resolve it.
Okay.
Yes.
If you can't resolve it, put a message in the Slack channel, ask for help from anyone. But I want someone in class to help you, or you do it yourself. But you should be able to do it.
Yeah, you can do a research on it.
For a small fee, I will help.
A small fee.
That's
good. All right, guys, let's go forward because we have a lot. So right now, if you see, we've changed our computer name and we've set a static IP. Okay. Now we are going now to introduce our server. We're going to install add rows. So if we go back to dashboard here, you see how we don't have no rows here. The only thing is just a file and storage, which is nothing. Now, for you to add rows to this server, which is going to be Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS. Those are the 3 rows we're going to add for right now. You can do it by this way, by just clicking add rows here because they've given you like quick start, like quick shortcuts to get to, or you can go to manager and you click add rows and features. So we're going to click on that on our machines. You're going to see a new tab is going to open, a new screen right here. Let me minimize server manager. Oh, everything minimized. Okay. So now we're going to have this new start screen here. We're about to add rows. We're about to add rows on our machine. You're going to click next. Don't worry about anything here. Just do next. It says say role based and feature begin install. Not remote based. We're not doing remote. Everything is just going to be default for here. Next. It's showing you the server that you want to add rows to. That's the server name right there. My Win server 2016. And you have my static IP address. That's where I want to add rows. You do next.
From the beginning, please. I didn't quite get everything.
So from the beginning all the way through here. So if you go on on dashboard after you're done with the IP address, click on your dashboard right there. Click add rows and feature, or you can go to manager right here, Emeka.
Excuse me, Kingsley. Can you proceed with this after if you've not done with the static address, because I was busy with my server and I didn't do the static address.
No, you have to do the static address.
Okay, then I'll do it later. I thought I could skip and
you can
continue here.
You can watch the video after, but if you still even the links that I sent to you guys on the Slack chat, you can watch those links too. It's gonna walk you through the same process that I'm doing. Everything that we're doing today is gonna walk you through it.
Okay, that's fine. I was working on my server, so I succeeded in starting up the server. So I wanted to catch up. So I'll continue with the video. That's fine.
Yeah, but you and Gerard is gonna take you guys after this for a little bit, so you guys gonna.
No, I fixed the problem already. The problem with the server, so I wanted to catch up. So I'll follow the video and then I do the static address and then
that's a great one. All right, here we're gonna add Active Directory right here. This one, right? Managers right there. Active Directory management rights features. It's gonna when you click on it, it's gonna come up with this. You just do add features, right? We're gonna go down and look for DNS server right there. We'll click on that too. It's gonna come up. Just add features. It's gonna show you all the rows that have been added with the DNS server right there in there. It's just giving you an information of what you're adding. Just do add features. It says validation. Yep, that's just message. It's just notifying you. Just do continue. And sometimes if you don't understand, you can always read on the side here what is giving you, because it gives you a description of what you're adding, what rows and features that you're adding. It gives you the description right here. It says DNS servers provides naming resolution for TCP and IP. Network DNS server is easier to manage when it is installed on a server, same server as an Active Directory domain service. You see what they're saying, right? I think we're supposed to take this domain service, not the Active Directory, right? See, yes, domain services, this one instead. Sorry guys, I gave you the wrong one, not this one, not the Active Directory right management services. I believe it's this one. And then we're gonna go now DSCP. Where is it? Right here. You click on DSCP as well. Those are the 3 features and roles that we're gonna add right now. It's just gonna give you a notification message that which are fixable. It's telling you that if you haven't set up the static IP address, make sure you set a static IP address. That's the reason of that error, that message that was that warning over there that we saw. It's just telling you that you have to set an IP address, which we did in the beginning. And that's why I was telling you, Mr. Roland, that you can proceed further, but at some point you're definitely gonna come back and set up that IP address. But just for learning purposes and make sure we are all on the same page, you probably want to do the IP address first, so you don't get to deal with all that warning and other stuff. Even though you already know, I'm explaining guys to you what the warning means. So now we've added those 3 features. There are so many features in here. You can do remote access, remote desktoping services. You can make this server a remote desktoping services and server. As much as you can. But for right now,
Shona, please, can you just I missed a little bit. Can you direct me to where I can access the server roles?
The server row, if you go to management, you see management up top at the top right hand side here. If you click on management, or manage, sorry, click on that manage, and the server manager. Click on manage. You see where it says add rows and features. Click on add rows and features. For the first, everything that you see there, leave it as default. Just click next, 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 until you get to this page where we are right now. Once you get to server rows.
Okay.
Are you a server rows?
Yes.
Okay, so select Active Directory domain services.
Active Directory domain services, yeah.
Add features. Check it. When you check it, add features. Select DSCP server. DSCP. Add feature. And then you select DSCP. DNS. It's gonna give you a warning, but just click continue.
Next.
Then you select all 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're gonna do next.
Mine didn't come up with any warnings though. It just allowed us to add features.
Yes. That means because you've set up your IP address. Those warning messages just to let people know that you have to set a static IP address and so on and so forth.
It also depends on the server that you are working on.
Yep.
2012 will show us warning messages. I think server 2016 is not going to do that.
I'm using
Olaf,
16.
do you have server 2016?
Yes, I'm using 16.
I'm using 16.
Yeah.
And it shows those errors.
Okay, it's warning. Fine. It's warning. It's warning message. It's not an error.
It's not an error.
It's just a warning.
It just tell you. It just give you an advanced warning that at some point you're gonna set up static IPs, and if you really want to set up this service, so it's just click next. You're fine.
So now that we've checked those three, we're gonna do next. Right here, I don't believe we're gonna select. There's anything that we need to select here. Let me see. Net framework has already been checked. That's fine. Okay, I don't believe there's anything that we need to select in here. SMTP, nope. All right, we're just gonna go do
next framework is just selected for me. Do you want us to select that?
The one that says 4.6?
Nope. I only have the ones that are default check is only web server and file and storage services.
So you don't have this one up here? You see mine up here? You scroll all the way to the top.
No, I don't. Net framework 35. Nope, I don't have that. Just my starts with Active Directory certificate services.
No, that means you're still at Active Directory services. You have to click next. Have you checked Active Directory and domain? That means you're still here, Mr. Ola. Mr. Ola, you're still here. You see where you are? Have you checked the following boxes?
Yes, I checked those three already. I just didn't press next. So I'm at the other page. I can see it now.
So hit next now. You see the net framework, right?
Yes, 4.6 and 3.5.
Yes, so we don't have to do any changes. We're not changing any. We're not adding anything here. Those are just in the net framework. It's just telling you that those are like prerequisites for this install. We're gonna do next again. Here is just telling you about the roles that you're adding and the features and whatnot. If you want to add web services, but we don't want to add web services right now. We're gonna do next. Nothing here to do in here as well. It's just checking all the rules that are being used, the roles, services. So you have web server, it has HTTP, static content, HTTP redirection, and whatnot.
I didn't get those. After features, I have something else. Active Directory. I don't have the role services.
Emeka, you did get it, but you've not gone for that. This is where you're still stuck right here, right?
No, I clicked next after that, and after that it just says Active Directory domain.
Active Directory domain.
Yeah, and I'm looking on the star panels. My star panel is a little bit different than yours.
Hold on, I will come back to you. Let me just finish. Let's finish and I'll come back to you to resolve your issue.
Yeah.
So we are actually here, the web services. We're gonna do next now.
So I also don't have the web server role.
That means you guys have not checked. You've not clicked something. You're missing something.
Okay.
When I come back to Emeka, then you will pick up from there.
Okay, thank you.
So DNS server right now, we're gonna do next. It's just telling you all the configuration that we've done. Active Directory and all these are just letting you the information know. So everything is just next at this point. So now it's just confirming that this is the role that you want to add. And an important thing that you want to know here is that for people that are going to be using Ansibles in the future, or you want to use automated tools to run stuff like this, you can always copy, you can export the configuration file. That means when you export this configuration file, it's going to come out as an HTML file, which you can load into PowerShell. Instead of doing this thing, click, 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 you could just run that script. It's going to do all the clicking for you and everything and just go at once. So this is the PowerShell script in here that you're telling the PowerShell that I want to set DNS, DHCP on this system, and I want you to proceed this row. That's why they gave you this option down here. You can click here. It says export configuration settings. So if I click export configuration settings, it's going to want to save this file, which I can always go there. It's going to be like a PowerShell file, an XML file that you can always run on in a script, and it's going to do all these things, these steps that we're doing right now. That's just so you know. And right now, it's just telling me the steps that I have to do. I've seen everything. It says to install the following roles and role services. Click install, and then you can check the restart the destination server automatically if required. And one other important thing that you guys want to know is that whenever you're working on a server, especially in a big corporations, when you're about to add rows on them, some rows are there that when you add those rows, it requires you to restart the server. And you don't want to work on a server during working hours because you don't know people are accessing that server, even minus working hours or after working hours. Some people work after working hours too as well. You always want to send out a general warning email to the whole company that I am working on this server right now, and at some point this server is going to be restarted. So if you cannot get access to this server, just give it a couple of while before trying it again. Because if you don't set that, then always let people know to save their work if they are working on that server. Save your work. Because you might restart the server while somebody is doing something on Excel sheet or PowerPoint. All of a sudden, boom, the person's work that has been working for probably days or months, which is a project that has a due date, might almost be due. And you restart that server, it shuts everything. You are going to be in deep trouble. So guys, take this as a warning. When you're working in a working environment, you always want to send out an email, a warning email that please, everybody save your work if you're working on this, if you're accessing this server as a shared drive server. If you're accessing this server, because when you install roles or something on the server, it will require you to restart. And you don't want people to be working on that server at the moment before you're restarting. So keep this at the back of your mind. Because each time you restart a server, it costs a commotion. So we're going to go ahead and do install. Let me see, restart the destination server automatically if required. All right, I'm not going to check that because I'll restart it by myself. I'm just going to do install. It's going to go ahead now and start the installation. So this is the installation going. It takes a couple of while though, depending on how fast your machine is. It takes a couple of while though. So mine might be a little bit faster. And just cause I don't know how fast my machine is, but it depends. So let's just wait for a couple of minutes. While we're waiting, if you're at this stage already, so just leave it to install. Leave it to where it's installing. Once it's done, I'll show you guys how it looks. Let me stop sharing so we can go, Mr. Emeka. We can see if we can figure out what is going on with Mr. Emeka.
I'm here.
All right, let me stop sharing so we can see exactly what's going on with your situation. Do you have that system on? Let me give you.
Let me log in. I logged off of it. Let me log in.
Mr. Jonathan. I see Mr. Jonathan too was having the same issue as well.
Hi. Yes. I was having an issue. If from features it goes to ADRMS, I don't see where it says web server role. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. What computer are you using? What are you on right now? So I can give you. let me give you. Let's do Mr. Emeka first since he's on here. Which one, Mr. Emeka? The one that his camera is off. Mr. Emeka, go ahead and share your screen. Let me see. Let me see where you're stuck. Because that's why I say when you're installing, you gotta pay attention to the what you're clicking on. Don't just click fast. You're on mute.
Give me the ability to share.
Yeah, I have. Go ahead.
It says host disabled.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Did I give it to the wrong account? Oh yes, I gave it to the wrong account. Remove co-host.
Give it to the one.
Yes, I've seen it now. All right, it should be good to go. Let's go ahead and share now. Let's see.
Okay, so which one do I click on here?
Uncheck the first one. We did not check that first one, so that's the problem. Uncheck that first one. Leave it to default. Just click next.
You have to do something.
Scroll down your screen. No, the other one. The other, yes, the outside one. Yep, that one. Scroll down. No, scroll down the outside. Yes, right there. Right there. Okay. Do next. All right. Do next.
This is what I was getting.
Yes, that's fine. That's the same thing we got. Next. Next. So you're at the same point where we are. All you're just gonna do is go scroll down, scroll up. Let me see. All right, click install. Hit install. All right, so you're good to go. All right, you can stop sharing. Let me go over to Mr. Jonathan now. Let's see what's happening with Mr. Jonathan too.
Yeah, I think I had something similar.
All right, Mr. Jonathan, you can share your screen. Share, Mr. Jonathan, share your screen. Let's see what is going on your end.
I don't have.
Oh, I gave the wrong account permission. Hold on.
I wonder that's my full name.
Yes, I have your government name on it. That's your government name stated. All right, you can go ahead and share. I'll give you permission. Not yeah. Minimize your. The virtual machine. You're mute. Share the screen that you can see us. The one that you can see us. When you click on share on that machine, the screen that shows we on a show. Yes. You're on mute. We cannot hear you. You had it shared before. I don't know why you changed it again. Yes, right there. So scroll all the way up. Scroll up. Scroll all the way up. No, not there. Not there. In the middle. Come in the middle. On the no, not there. Yes, right there. Scroll in there. There's a scroll up in there. Right there. Yes, scroll all the way up. So that's what you're supposed to see. Just click next. You don't have to do no changes here. Just do next. Or go back one step. Go back 2 steps. Let me see something. Go back. Previous again. No, previous one step. Next. Sorry. Scroll up. Let me see something. Yes. So that's not. You check the wrong Active Directory. You have to check the one that says domain services. The uncheck the first one. Uncheck that first one. Yes. Uncheck that one. All right. You have a drop down. All right. Domain services has been checked. That's fine. I see now. So do next.
But wait, can you go back? Because I see that there's a different Active Directory that you've checked in. Active Directory Rights Management Services.
Oh yes. Uncheck that one, Mr. Jonathan. Thank you for that good catch, Jarvis. Uncheck that. Yes. We don't need that one. Go to take next. You should be good now. Yes. Go next. There's nothing we have to do. Configure here. Next. Install. All right. Okay, so you should be on. You guys should be on the same page. Let me share my own screen. Stop sharing now. Let me share my screen back. All right. You see exactly. Okay, mine is done. You see how it's done? It's all the way to the fullest. And now you see these are the rows that we've installed. But we're not done yet. We have to promote now this server to a domain controller. And to do that, we'll do right here. Or I can still close this. Close this right here. You see the notification, this warning right here? This is where you get all your notifications of. Yes.
One second. Let me just explain to them what a domain controller is.
Okay.
So in a domain, now I feel you guys have an understanding what a domain is. A domain is a group of computers that are in a network that are communicating with each other, right? And a domain is being controlled by a domain administrator. So, Emeka, you can be working in a company and one of your roles as a Linux admin or systems admin is going to be managing domains. So you're going to be the domain administrator.
Right.
For you to administer that domain, you need to be on Active Directory, on an Active Directory server, right? Which we just installed, right? And you can, for you to be able to control that domain, you need to be on a server that is known as a domain controller.
Right.
A domain controller is one server that controls all the servers and any other system that is on a domain. So the domain controller controls the computers that you add on the domain. It controls the users that you add on the domain. It controls group policy, everything. So
right.
It's a server where you do centralized management.
Right.
So that is a domain controller. You use it to manage everything on the domain. Make sense? Yeah, so
guys,
that's what we're about to do. We're about to promote our standard server into a domain controller.
So now, if you go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say that companies have only one server that has this kind of power, or do they have multiple?
No. You don't want to have. You want to always set up an environment for fault tolerance, right?
Yes.
You have, in some environments, you have two domain controllers. One will be the principal domain controller, and then the other one will just be the standby.
Yes.
Yeah. You can have even three if you want, but
yes,
one will be the main domain controller, and then you
all,
have two standby.
And all those domains will never be on one server. When it comes to an enterprise, when we talk about enterprise, that means big companies. When it comes to an enterprise companies, you will never see a domain controller and an Active Directory, a DHCP and domain controller on one server. No, they have separate servers. That's why they have server rooms that is big as what you see, because each server in there has one functionality, because just for fault tolerance, as Gerard said, if in case one server goes down, the next one picks up and continues from where it left off, just because they don't want people to have that fault tolerance anymore. So those are the things that's the reason why. But we are doing this is just a small project. We can put everything on one server, because this is just a small companies too as well.
So otherwise, Ola, if you don't want to put everything on your one Windows server, you can build you have time, right? When you are home, you can take it as a project. You build another Windows server, install just DHCP on that server.
Yes.
Go build another server, install just DNS on that server. So you're gonna know, okay, this is my separate DNS server, this is my separate DHCP server, this is my separate Active Directory server. You can do that. So if you do that, it's gonna give you a complete picture of how a work environment works.
Well, how do they all talk to themselves? Because if I create different servers with all these things separately installed, like you
just need to give each server has its own IP address. As simple as that.
Yes,
right?
And when you give it the IP address,
the same line.
When you give it an IP address, that's when now you introduce the server now to the domain. When you introduce the server to the domain, now they talk to each other.
So that means I have to create a domain and then add each of these separate servers to that domain.
No.
And then that.
When it comes to domains, right? When it comes to domain, when you're adding a domain to another domain, it's totally different from adding a computer to a domain. Because there's a primary domain, and then if you're bringing another subdomain, it's called a subforest.
Yeah, but my difficulty will be, so in order to do all this, like I have a DHCP server separate from my my DNS server, but I need these two things to work together in order to create something, which means all these servers have to be able to talk to each other. But if I create different virtual machines and install this on different virtual machines, how do I then let them talk to each other? Do I put them in a work group and then add everybody to that work group, or? That's
when now Active Directory now comes in. Because you create policies in Active Directory. That's why they say Active Directory is used to create computers and user accounts. You can create computers in there and user account. That's where you do all the configuration of domains. I'm going to show you guys that. But let's go further. If you see here now, we've had more rows. Rows I've added here on this side now. And also down here, you can see how the rows I've added down here. Now we have AD and AD and domain services. We have DHCP, which we just installed. We have DNS. File storage was there automatically from the beginning. This one was there, and this. So these are all the services that I've installed. DHCP is right here, DNS, and then AD. Those are the three that we installed. But still, we haven't promoted this domain to the domain, which is what we're going to do right now. You click on the notification right here. You see how it says post deployment configuration, promote this server to a domain controller. And they also have complete DHCP configuration, but that's not what we're doing right now. But the only one we want to do right now is this one. We're going to click on this, promote the server to a domain controller. When you click on it, it's going to open another one. This is where now you give your domain name. You're going to set your domain name. You can make, since we're using a small, if you had a domain name already, as your question, come back to Mr. Olak's question. If you wanted to make your DHCP server to become a domain, to become a domain, to be talking to a domain controller server, you do the same thing. You go to your DHCP server, it has managed, you have to add the role and then promote that server to the domain. When you hit promote that server to the domain, it's going to bring you to this page. If you had the domain name already, you will input it here. Put the domain name in here. Let me just click here, right there. You put a domain name in here, .com or .net or .something. And a domain controller always requires you to have a .net, a .something at the back of it. It can be .net, .edu, .com, whatever you want, .org, .gov, .any. It has to have a .something. Your domain name has to have a .something. So since I'm using, and this is the first domain that we're adding to the network.
Excuse me, Mr. Kinsey.
Yes.
When I clicked on that, it says configuration required for Active Directory domain service.
I don't understand what did you click on?
You said to go to where the flag error or
yes.
the message, and then you're supposed to click on the.
So see, let me do this again. Let me do this again. Watch, Mr. Emeka. I'm gonna close out of this. So are you sure you want to cancel this wizard? Yes. You see how I have the error, the message here, the notification here? This is going to be your notification box in your server. This is where you're going to see all notifications of something that you need to do. Click on it. The first one that says post, it says complete DHCP. That's not what we want to do. This is the one we want to do. Promote this server to a domain controller. That's the one you want to click on.
That's what I clicked. That's what I clicked on.
Clicked on right there. It's going to bring you to this screen.
Yeah. All right. It says post deployment configuration. It says configuration required for Active Directory domain service. It gives me a task. I can stop it, and but it's still just
hold. And it passed, or it's still standing there?
It's still standing there. It's not doing nothing.
All right, share your screen. Let me share me that screen. Let me see. Let's see exactly what, so everybody can see the error message.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let me stop sharing. Go ahead and share that screen. Let's see. Let's see what error you're getting.
Okay, you see right here? It says post deployment configuration.
Minimize your server manager. Let's see. Yes, server manager. Minimize server manager.
Minimize it.
Yes, minimize server manager right there. Yes.
Right here?
Yes. Minimize that. You see, that's what you're supposed to get. It went to the back, but you didn't see it. This is the screen that we are on right now. So yeah, just bring this to the top, bring it to the middle. So this is the screen that we're on right now. Just bring it to your middle. Yes, right there. Okay. We'll go by Emeka's machine. Then I'll do mine. Everybody will follow from Emeka's machine. Now, Emeka, you're a new teacher. You're a new teacher right now. So you see how by default is selected to be add a domain controller to an existing domain. That is not what we want to do because we don't have a domain yet. You want to click the last one, Mr. Emeka, the one that says add a new forest, because we don't have a domain yet and we don't have no domain controller and we don't have a domain. We're trying to make this machine to become a domain controller instead, because since it's a new domain controller, we're trying to do right now. Go now in where you have the name. Click right there, Mr. Emeka. Now choose your domain name that you want to use. Everybody can choose their own domain name, but it has to end with a .com. You can put emeka.com, or you can put, that's fine. If you want to use that, that's fine. Let me go ahead, Bismarck. Yes, I know you were going to come to this question. Stop sharing, Emeka. Let me share my screen.
No, okay, let me leave it now. Let me leave it.
No, go ahead. Ask a question.
No, just continue.
No, this is what I was going to clarify you from where. Remember when you asked me about the domain, right? I remember you asked me earlier today about the domain. So if you had a domain that you bought already, right? You will not check. You will use you will use this option, the first option. But since we don't have a domain, we don't have a domain yet. We're trying to make this machine a domain, and we're going to assign a temporary domain that we can use any name, anything that nobody has used. That's why I say everybody can create their own domain. And this is what they call a domain controller, which is going to be our own domain that you can add machines now to that domain name. Mine, I'm going to do, let me just do mine as a, what can I use? I'll do king.edu. Even though I already had one, I created one with my 2012 server that's called .edu. All right, let me do .com for this one instead. Because you can do .edu, which is for education. You can do .org, organization. Sorry, I wrote the wrong thing. .org, organization. You could do .net. You could do .gov for government. Anything, but it has to end with a .something. But I'm using .com because that's my own domain that I'm trying to create. That is, if I want to introduce my computers to my new domain that I've created, I will go onto that computer and I go change from work group to a domain. Then now where it says put in the domain name, I'm going to type in Kingsley or king.com. It's not active. I'm trying to make it active now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're not using it. We're not this you're talking about the ones that we can use as a web server. But this server that we're the domain controller that we're creating right now, we're not using it as a web server. It's when if you want to set up a web server, that's when now you have to go buy a domain name that has a website. Then you come and put it in here and create it. But since we're not using a web server for this one, we just create a domain as for right now. All right. If everybody is at this stage right now, since you selected, make sure you select the last one that says add a forest, add a new forest, because we're adding a new domain. We don't have a domain yet before. So once you put in your domain name in here, we're going to click next. I have put in my own domain name. Everybody can put in their own domain name. You're going to click next. It's going to load that domain name. If that domain name has been taken, it will give you an error message. If it hasn't been taken, it will go to the next stage. So mine was not taken. And it's all set. And you see now it says the domain naming system server is already been checked. So special domain control capabilities. The global catalog has already been checked as well. We already have Windows Server 2016 selected for us here. If you had another one that was there was another more options, it would have switched. You would have a drop down here to show you more options. And now it's asking us now to set a password for our domain. Just give it a second. It's still loading. Yeah, it's still loading my the domain name. So you see how it says here the target.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you have a domain, so the password for the domain is what you enter here, right?
Yes. Okay. So let's say if somebody wants to, if you want to add a machine to that domain, when you ask you for your domain name, when you put in the domain name and you click OK, it's going to ask you for a password, which is going to be the domain password, not the server password. So take note of that. There's a difference between the domain password and a server password. The server password that we did at first was just a password to log into that server. This domain password is going to be the password that we're going to be using to set up a domain. If you want to introduce a computer to the domain, once you put that domain name, you click OK. It's going to ask you now for the domain password, which is going to be this one that we're going to enter here. I don't know why mine is giving me these error messages. Okay. That's just showing you how to set it up. It's just telling you more about the domain. You can click there and get more information too as well. But I don't know why my domain controller is taking forever. Is anybody where at the point where you can click and put in the password?
Yes.
All right, I can. Let's use Emeka. Are you there as well? Is Emeka there? What about you, Mr. Jarvis?
I'm here.
Yeah, I wanted to use somebody as example because mine is taking for too long. I don't know.
Yeah, mine is ready to enter the password.
All right, share your screen. Let's use your screen instead. I'll continue from your screen.
Guys, sorry, sorry that we went way past time today.
I know. I was just about to apologize on that too.
It's because of the many questions that we are getting. I want to make sure everybody
understands.
Is up to speed with what we're doing.
Okay, so this is what you're supposed to be seeing. So, Mr. Emeka, go in and put in your password. Set a password that you know that you will be able to remember.
Could I use the same server password?
You can. No, don't. Just
Mr. Emeka, remember you're an IT professional now. You don't want to do that as an IT professional. You don't want to use more than one password for multiple accounts. So that's one habit you need to start cracking. Like, get rid of that habit. As an IT pro, you will never do that.
You have to have different passwords for different accounts and different passwords for different services. So set a password that you can write it down. Then when Jared is going to teach you guys about the password safe, you can save the password in that password safe. Just set a password here, a different password. Go ahead and put it in.
You can use a similar password that you had before, and you just add something behind just to make it look different, right?
So you type in the he's going to type in the password. Then next again, he's going to retype it again. Then you're going to hit next. So that domain now has a password. It's going to load. That's just a warning message. It has nothing to do. It's just telling you about the delegation that what you're doing right now. And it says special DNS delegation. Create a DNS delegation. I don't think you need to create any DNS delegation. Just click next. Okay. So it's going to pick out a NetBIOS domain name here, which is going to take it from your domain name automatically. Just give it when it loads up. And before they used to have about 15 or 18 characters of domain. That was back in the olden servers. But right now you have just about 5 characters or 5 characters maximum, and it automatically goes from your domain name that you gave. So I can tell that Emeka's domain name was emeka.com or .net or .something. So it picks that name automatically and set it up right here. Click next, Emeka. Okay, so this one is just telling you this is where the log files are going to be going and the database folders where files are going to be saved. Some people always want to try to always change the path for where you want to save stuff, but it's always good to always leave it to the default path for everything, just for some reason, because if you want to load those files, let's say you set the server 2 years ago and you want to go look for the log files, you don't remember where you changed the path to. It's going to take you forever to start looking for the part in that server. Like, okay, what was the name of the part that I gave? If you don't remember, these are some of the things. Always leave it to the default one, because why? It's easy to trace it. You can Google search where the default part for data save was, the log files was being saved. Like you see here, I was telling you guys about log files, right? You see this log file right here on the second line? That's where anybody that logs into that server, your information, your credentials are being captured and saved in that location. For security purposes, let's say if that server, there was something that information got stolen in that server, that is where they're going to go in that log file. Omega, there's nothing there, don't even bother, there's nothing there right now. That's where you're going to go into that log file to find who was the last person that logged into that server, and the last thing that they did is you're going to see their credentials and everything. Click next, Emeka. So from here, everything is just default. We'll leave everything to default. All right, it's going to tell you now here, it's just giving you a review of what you're doing, telling you all the things. And also here, you can also view the script, and you can also save the script to run it next time. You don't have to go step by step to introduce the server to the domain. You can use what they call an automation tool. If you guys have it in your environment, use automation tool, just put the script in there, run it over the network. It's going to install a server and introduce the server to the domain by you using this script. So this is just telling you what you've been you're doing. Just give you a review. Emeka, go ahead and click next now. All right. So now the server is going to start installing. It's going to introduce the server now it's checking out for the prerequisites. to make sure all the requirements that are required for this domain to be introduced has been met. If all those demands have not been met, or all the prerequisites have not been met, you're going to get error messages in here. But after that verification has gone through, all you're just going to see are just warning messages, which are normal, because everybody is going to have that same warning messages too as well. All right, so mine has come back. Let me set my password.
So can I ask one question while it's loading up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, suppose you want to do this like this on a virtual machine. Is it possible you can do the same process on a normal machine?
Same concept.
And how you assess this interface, this server manager?
It comes
no, Jarvis. We are dealing with servers right now. We are not dealing with normal machines. Remember?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
There's a difference between a server and a normal machine. This is a server.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah. So it's not gonna work on a normal machine.
When you talk, yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Like, when you talk about normal machine, what do you mean by normal machine? Like a bare machine that you installed this Windows 2016 server on the bare machine? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but well, if you install it, I guess it will work because it's going to work like a server.
Yes, because you installed a whole operating system. You made that machine become a whole Windows server now.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yes. So, but not on like my local machine. You cannot do that on a local machine.
No,
so,
so Jarvis, if you get a Dell server, right?
Yes.
So you can buy a Dell hardware. It doesn't matter the hardware. It can be on your physical machine. But for everything we're doing to work, you have to install a hypervisor on that machine.
Right.
You cannot just take the ISO image and install it directly on your Dell laptop, and then you try to build a Windows. It's never going to work. It will just crash it.
Okay. So, Mr. Maker, this warnings here are just regular warnings that everybody gets. So it's not an error message. You see how you see the green check mark all the way up top where it says all prerequisites check pass successfully. You see right up top there. You guys see it? That's where if the system did not meet the prerequisites, you will get an error message up there. Instead of it saying all prerequisites check pass successfully, you get an error message, and it's going to tell you it's going to show you the error message where what is you're missing. So click install. Hit install now. Yep. Once that is done, the server is going to restart. Then when it comes back up now, you're going to see says Windows Server 2016 domain controller has a default for security settings name. That's just warning messages. It's just going to give you warning messages, which is all good. So we just got to wait for the install to, I don't know how fast it's going to, how quick it's going to go. But once you get to that point, once it's done, so now if they ask you guys an interview question, oh, have you ever configured a domain server? Yes. How did you do it? I built a Windows servers, add Active Directory, DNS and DHCP role on the server, and also I promote the server to be a domain controller. That's your answer for an interview question. Have you ever set up an Active Directory server? Yes. That's what we just did today. Have you ever set up a DNS server? Yes, we just did that today. Have you ever set up a DHCP server? Yes, we just did that today. Have you ever configured a static IP? Yes, both on a server on a local machine, on a regular work machine. Because you want to talk like an IT professional, tell them like you've done this in the past at certain jobs. Not tell them that, oh, I've studied this in my class. No. They're not going to be ready to pay you $120,000 for you to tell them that you just came from studying and you're still fresh off the boat. You're not fresh off the boat. You should answer the question like a professional. Yes, in my previous job, this is the roles that I used to do. I used to manage servers. I used to configure servers to become an Active Directory server. I have introduced a server to the network, promote a server to become a domain controller. I also used to work on a server to create users account using Active Directory for the company, set up policies, group policies as well. Even though we're going to go into Active Directory, I know we've gone way above time today, but I mean it's for good cause, and I appreciate you guys sitting there. And so let me, Emeka, stop sharing your screen. It looks like yours is taking a long time. Let me share mine because mine has already passed yours. Don't worry, we got faster systems. So if you guys see mine, I've already done. Okay, that's just the prerequisite check. So now I'm doing the installation. It's doing the same thing like Emeka's as well. I thought I was one step of you, Emeka, but instead I was still one step behind. But that's still fine. Mine might be faster than yours.
Mine is restarting.
Okay, so that means yours has already been introduced to the domain.
Oh yeah, it's applying computer settings.
Yep.
So I want to ask a question. If, for example, I'm working as an administrator in a bank, and I want to use the local like the bank has a local area network they are using. So if I have, for example, this government system I have in front of me as my server, and I want to create a domain, I can do it here, and then I go into each individual client device on my network, like for in the various departments, and I'll go into their IP settings and add them to the domain.
No, you don't go into IP settings to add a computer to a domain. Like if I want to add this my local computer now to a domain, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Let me minimize this virtual machine. So if I want to add this, let's consider this to be one of your clients' computers right here. If I want to add this machine to a domain, all I'm going to do, you go to this PC, properties, all right? You do where it says, where is it? So this is the computer name. Change product rename. I know mine looks different a little bit.
Go to File Explorer. It's gonna be easier from File Explorer.
Yeah, let me go File Explorer. That's where I was. I just opened two of them. So it's right here, right?
Right-click Properties.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It's gonna
so rename this PC. Okay. It's because my PC has a different. All right, let me do this instead. Let me go to my remote machine.
Scroll down.
Let's make it fun. All right, let me connect to my other machine. So I'll show you guys from there. If I want to introduce that machine to the domain, you guys can see this, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So this is my other machine right here. Let me just. Hold on, yes, I'm facing that kind of Emeka's issue too. So this is this PC right here. I click on this PC, I right click, go to properties. You see where it says change settings? You click on change settings. Go to change. Click on change. You see where it says to rename this computer, change its domain or work group. You see how it says it there? You click on change. You come now here, you click on domain. When you click on domain, I'm going to put in my domain here, which my domain was king.com. All right. That's how you're going to do it from the server. Like you're not going to do from the server. That's what you do from the local computer. And if I hit OK now, it's going to restart my other computer now. And then the computer now will be now on the domain. But I don't want to introduce that computer to the domain. That's how you do it. But when it comes to big enterprises, like big corporations, you will not be doing this. You will not be walking around, going from one person's computer to the other to be doing that. They have what they call in Active Directory. They have what they call, that's why you see Active Directory is very, 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 very important. They have a group that they're going to create in there, which is called a domain controller group. All you just got to do is When that machine is in the working environment, you just plug that machine to an Ethernet cable, power the machine on. There's a row that's been set up in the back, and that automatically introduces that computer to a domain controller, to a domain. So long as that computer is in that network, if it's a brand new computer, if you buy a brand new computer and bring it into your work network, you plug in an Ethernet cable on the computer. As you press the power button, there are scripts that have been set in the back end on a server that runs a script and introduces that computer automatically to the domain. That means the script has been written to do all this process that we are doing right now, that you have to go around from one computer to another to input it. So that script has automatically been written. That once you plug in that Ethernet cable on the computer and power that computer on, that's the first script that runs. It's part of the boot process too. As you remember, we always talk about the post-boot process. That has been included to the post-boot process to it as well. So that's the process. That's what happens in a corporation. But if it's a small, like a local in your house, you have like 2-3 computers, you want to introduce them to a domain, you can do it manually. But in a business environment where you have about 5,000 people, you cannot tell me you live here, drive to Texas, go into your company in Texas and introduce all those people in Texas and come back here. Yeah, it's going to take you forever.
So, Jarvis, there's also a tool, a Windows configuration management tool known as SCCM.
Yes.
So SCCM. I've forgotten the complete meaning of SCCM.
It's system. You just said it. System configuration. I think it's
SCCM. I've forgotten the complete meaning. So you can Google that SCCM. Right. So SCCM is also used to do something like this, where you set all the configuration on SCCM, and any machine that you want to add to the domain, as soon as you plug in that machine to the network, or you connect to the Wi-Fi of that network, it pushes the configuration from Active Directory to that machine, and it just adds that machine automatically to the domain.
Right.
By default. But you'll find this tool mostly in big companies. Yeah. But it's one tool that I want you guys to know about, read about it, because you also mentioned SCCM on your resume.
Yes.
Right. So just go to YouTube, watch a video on SCCM and see how it works, because it's always good for you to mention SCCM when you're interviewing.
And just guys, so you know too, SCCM is a full-time job as well. That's somebody's whole, like somebody's career. Just working as an SCCM admin.
Yeah.
That's what.
But again, if you find yourself in a company, I've worked for a company where they had just like 150 workers, right? We didn't have SCCM. So we had to introduce machines to the domain manually. Each time we buy a new machine, we go to that machine, we configure it, because you, the user using that machine, you don't have the admin rights to be able to add that machine to the domain. It must be a domain administrator. So like if they hire a new person, they're gonna send an email to IT. IT, this is the new person that's joining the company. This is the start date of this person. We're gonna go ahead, we purchase a laptop for that person. We set up the laptop and we manually add that laptop to the domain. So when the new user, if the new user is starting on Monday, then on Monday, we'll just hand in the person the laptop and say, okay, this is your laptop, take and start working. The machine is already added to the domain. We just did that for you. But that's for companies that have between 100 and 150 workers. Mm-hmm. But when you start going to like 1,000, 2,000, then 5, you want to use a configuration management tool like SCCM.
Right.
But you have, the goal in this class is to understand both processes. Know that a configuration management tool can be used when the company is large.
Yes.
And know that small companies, you have to do it manually.
Yeah.
Again, you don't know where you're going to find yourself, right? You can be in a large company, you can be in a small company. So you have to be prepared for both scenarios.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Jerry. So right now we're at the point where my system now has become, the server now is now, we can call it now a domain controller. So now this server now is not just a bare server. It's an Active Directory server, and it's also a domain controller server. And it's also a DHCP server. But we haven't configured DHCP. We haven't promoted to DHCP yet. We just have it just to.
I think we should end in 3 minutes. It's
almost 2 o'clock.
It's almost 2 o'clock. So it's 1:57.
Yep.
So at this point,
you still have Boston time?
Yeah, my machine is Boston time.
Oh.
But my work machine is Texas time. My private machine is still Boston time.
Oh.
So I leave it like that to be able to catch up with class, because sometimes I forget.
Right.
Gerald, you have to commit to relocating to Texas. You cannot be in two places at the same time.
That's right. That's why I asked him that question. You still have Boston time? That means you're still one leg out, one leg in.
Can I ask one more thing again?
Go, Mr. Jarvis.
So concerning, like, as you have just explained, using this, for example, SCCM, how it does.
Ola, did you write SCCM down? Because I want you to research about SCCM, please. It's important.
Is it the same? Does it make use of this protocol, LDAP?
LDAP?
No, LDAP.
LDAP.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes use of RDP, LDAP, and a host of other protocols.
Yes.
But Active Directory itself makes use of LDAP protocol.
Yep.
Lightweight Directory Access Protocol.
Okay.
That's the full meaning of LDAP. And you don't call it. You don't have to. You don't call it. I just heard you said what? What was it again? You said.
I said LDAP.
No. So you gotta start using our IT terminologies. It's called LDAP. That's how you pronounce it. Because you cannot go stand in front of an interview and tell them like I used LD RDP or no. You don't want like the same way we go with the SCSI drive. You will not go say SICC or CDC drive or whatever they call it. That's not what you're gonna say in front of people. They'll be like, okay, this one is still fresh off the board.
Yeah, so I think we can end here for today.
Yep.
Please, if you were not following, take your time, watch this video. It's very, like what we did today is very, very important. Very, very important.
And also the links that I sent in the Slack chat, that is going to help you through this process too as well. And you might even go one step ahead of me and then next class is probably going to be like, oh, just revision. Yeah. Because Wednesday we're going to do a revision, continue on this too.
So even if you succeeded and set up your server, still watch the video and do it again.
Right.
Because if you do it once and you forget about it, you meet this question in an interview, you'll not be able to answer. You want to be able to do it multiple times.
Right.
And you feel comfortable doing it. So I expect you to have like 5 or 6 different servers that you've set up, following the same process until you become comfortable. And you can just start it up and you click, knowing that you're clicking the right thing because you've done it over and over. Right. But don't just do it once and say, okay, my server is working, I'm fine, that's it. Let's forget about it. So guys, thanks so much for this session.
I appreciate guys for it.
We are building the steps, but we are going step by step. It's gonna get a little bit complicated. You're gonna see new things, but you all are very capable of it. You know, I mean, before I learned this and Kingsley also learned this, we didn't know anything. We're just like you guys. But
I didn't know nothing.
We had the motivation, we had the passion.
The passion and you put in the work.
Pushing. Yes. So at some point you're gonna feel like it's too much. The information is just too much. You are exhausted. A lot of things are going on in your life, and it's gonna be hard to catch up with stuff. But believe me, you need to find your motivation. You need to have some self-discipline, and most importantly, think about the end goal. Think about the money.
When each time you feel like you feel down, think about like, oh yes, $150,000 somewhere.
Yes. Think about the money.
Like, let me get up. Even if it's 1 or 2 hours, just sit in front of the computer or your notebook, do some revision, do some research on Google. 1 hour or 2 hour days is enough for you to get yourself. Yes.
That would be good motivation. You know.
So if we could have like a kind of well-structured notes on this particular concept of today, I think it will really help.
I'm gonna make notes on the other ones like file system and stuff, but I sent you guys a link because there's a video that can walk you through it. There's a YouTube video I just sent the link to you guys on the Slack chat. Go under general, you'll see the links that I sent there. Let me even open it up and show you guys if you haven't had the chance to go there. So it does not mean
what Kingsley is teaching right now. If you are doing this in a university, it might take an entire semester.
Right.
So if you're asking for notes, they can
right here. Copy these links.
You can have like a whole book, and you're gonna read this, and it's never gonna stop. But
what you can do, just
watch
copy
that video. Is gonna make a whole lot of sense to you.
Yes. Copy this link and just put it on your browser. Go from there. If you don't understand, this one or the video of today, go with these links too as well. It's gonna help you clarify a lot of questions that you have.
Yeah. I think, but Kingsley is still gonna send you some notes on what Active Directory is, what is a tree, what is a forest, things like that. So if you see those terminologies,
you feel familiar with it.
Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Just do it over and over again, and you get it. So thanks, guys. We're gonna stop recording at this point, and then we're gonna hang around for a few minutes for anyone who has any question to ask, or you need me to help with anything. So